So hot take. So I have a hot take for you.
My hot take? Well, I think some artists need to put a little more energy in their live set.
Overly complicated tracks are things that kind of ruin a track for me.
Don't stick to any kind of genre label.
Future bass is the worst music genre ever created.
Barber Beats was the original vaporwave. Fuck General MIDI Choir, it's all bad.
Bruh.
Worst album artwork I've ever seen is Green Day's Father of All Motherfuckers, probably.
I find new music often, and I usually illegally download it.
Stuff that sounds good. Sampleless vaporwave is still vaporwave, buddy.
MIDI wave is a form of vaporwave. Deal with it.
Gen Z is the future of vaporwave. I said it. What is your musical guilty pleasure, Vape Bearer?
It's gotta be K-pop.
If you don't like mint chocolate chip ice cream, you are a baby.
Music isn't real.
I smell weed.
I'm Dan Mason. This is Vape Eric. This is FM Skyline.
This is Mesh.
Yo, this is Groovy Kaiju. This is Christ. You're listening to
Hot takes.
That's the one.
Don't touch my records. Ever.
And that's it. It is Young Shiro and Skeleton Listic, and this is Hot Takes. Say hello to everybody, Skelly.
Hi guys, how are we all doing tonight?
Super glad to have everybody in attendance that is here. I know we're getting started a little early, so this is officially part of the show, but it doesn't, of course, officially start till the top of the hour. We did swap sides, Luxury Noise. For if you're not watching the Twitch, Skelly, I put us on different sides.
Oh, I've got us on the Twitch. Oh yeah, didn't even notice that.
So, hang on. I think my monitor's coming out. Do I sound bad? Anybody in the audience, if I don't sound good, let me know. Let me, Skelly, I'm gonna need you to do the intro, man. For some reason, my mic is shitting itself.
No problem. Hi guys,
Thanks, buddy.
Welcome to Hot Takes. This is a talk show where we focus a lot on the vaporwave scene. We talk about opinions that may be controversial, and then also talk about opinions that are just sort of interesting to discuss and promote conversation. We try to push up, never down. And this is a safe place to discuss everything you are thinking. And we have a lot of our friends who come on and talk with us as well. And speaking of a lot of friends coming on and talk with us as well, there are many tonight.
There are.
I can't thank you guys all enough for coming on. And I'm very much looking forward to it. Anything, is that good?
Well, I just unplugged and replugged my mic, so y'all keep me in the loop. My camera was shitting itself earlier, so my mic, it's like the biggest episode of the season, so of course, in true Hot Takes fashion, something is going to go wrong. But we're just very excited to everybody that is here tonight, whether you be a legacy viewer or a new viewer. We have a stacked lineup tonight, full of our friends. Whether they be graphic artists, whether they be musicians, whether they be DJs, promoters, personalities. We've got some of our favorite people. Anybody that literally could is here tonight. And we had some last-minute additions, like Mesh.
Amazing. Appreciate
Porter
it so
Vaughn
much.
came through literally at the 11th hour. And we unfortunately will not be able to spend any time with our dear friend Sonavision Deluxe tonight. He had to drop out at the last minute, but some family issues. We wish him luck, obviously. Everybody focus your positive vibes on Sonavision Deluxe tonight. Over the past, we've been doing this for 2 years, Skelly. Did you know that?
Wow.
2 years. Well, almost 2 years. I think March 2021 we started.
I can't thank you enough for asking me to co-host it with you. This is a phenomenal project, and I'm so honored to be a part of it.
There's nobody that I would rather.
Really, I think it's
literally nobody else that I would rather co-host with, buddy. We'll be having some people from season 1 and season 2 tonight, and the way we're going to be doing it is in 15-minute blocks. Luxury Noise, thank you so much. He just donated $30 to the show. What a real one. Speaking of which, if I can just maybe thank our top donors from 2022. Be careful. Leo, Chase, Mossy Frog Tapes, and Luxury Noise, you guys, between the three of y'all, sent us about $300 to pay for the ad that you may have just seen, which was beautifully put together with footage that I shot, mostly in Brooklyn, of course, by DS Dude. Anybody that doesn't know DS Dude, he's a dear friend of mine, a member of the Rosewood Collective and George Clanton Fan Club. He did a great job on that ad. At least Skelly and I are pretty taken with it.
Amazing work.
And so fully paid for by our donors. Thank you guys so much for being so generous. We've got some other commissions coming up for Season 3 that I don't want to go into too much detail about yet, but that'll be also paid for in part by our lovely donors. What were some of, if I may ask, what were some of your favorite moments from this last season? Skelly.
Me?
And anybody in chat.
Sign
off. Sound off, I mean.
Some of my favorite moments from this last season. That's so difficult for me to think of because I just really enjoy all the time I get to spend with my friends talking about their interests and the vaporwave scene and their creative processes. Every time someone tells me about what inspires them and what their creative process is, it just really touches me. And I can't even pick one right now, but what about you?
Well, I mean, I've noticed that there have been a lot of times that speaking with people that are very into the hardware and production side of things, they've been like, hey, could you ask your guests a little bit more detail about what goes on in their production? So in case like I hadn't told you this, our viewers really like it when you ask those questions.
Oh, I always get into that. Yeah.
Yeah, you do. And there has been a couple
Maybe one of my
people...
favorite moments. One of my favorite moments was noticing that I had a piece of gear that Autograph did not have.
I remember you
PG 1000 controller for the
I remember you being just so not jealous, but like in awe of his setup.
I still want him to come down here at some point and help me set up this whole mess over here.
Right. I think obviously one of my highlights of this last season was being able to sit down with 18 Karat Affair. Everybody who's been on the show has been just a real peach, but man, it was a dream of mine to have 18K on the show, and I'm still kind of pinching myself in disbelief that we landed our interview with Dennis.
Yeah, he's a wonderful
I need to be
guy.
careful not to move this thing. I think this XLR's cable is shitting itself. So we planned to jump on and kind of have a little chat before the show actually starts, and I see that our green room is filling up with people. I'm not really sure what's going on in there, but I'm sure I'm going to hear about it after the show. And for those of y'all that are watching, this will be a little bit different from our regular shows where there's a lot of audience involvement. Because of the fact that we have like 30 plus people that are going to be participating tonight, there won't be a whole lot of Q&A aside from just some prompts that I've got ready for the people that we're bringing in. And we're bringing in 3 at a time in different groups. And you'll just have to tune in and see who jumps in and when and where and what. It's going to be a long slog, so for those of y'all that are with us the entire evening, or at least most of the evening, we appreciate that. But no pressure to anybody that doesn't want to or can't make the whole 3 hours.
Yeah, this will just be archived to watch for later.
Absolutely. In grand hot takes fashion, we've got our good buddy Indy Advant screen capping the whole thing. Indy will be joining us tonight, partway through the night, but he's also recording the whole thing. He has done that since the inception of the show, so huge shout out to Indy Advant.
Yeah, appreciate that. I do think Hot Takes is a very wonderful document of this particular period of time and this particular collective of artists. So it's nice that we have this show. Thank you for starting it, Isaac, and thank you to Indy for documenting it.
Absolutely. Since we have a good 5 minutes before we actually start with our first group, what are some things that you would like to do with Season 3 that we haven't done yet? Skelly, specifically, I'm asking you.
Oh,
And anybody in chat. Everybody, what would y'all like to see? Any particular format, guest, something that you think would make the show better? Sound off in the comments. but specifically Skelly. My bad. What do you want to do?
Skelly. Gosh. I mean, I really love the format that we have right now. I'm trying to think of anything more that we could do differently with this show to, what I would like to try and figure out is how we can coordinate with some international guests. You know what I mean?
That was exactly what I was thinking.
In different countries that we really have talked to and that you've talked to that really want to come on the show and that we really want to have on, and we just have yet to figure out how to do that. But we need to figure that live in-person episode. Yeah, we should do that at some point.
That's a good idea. I don't have the hardware for that. I know Codex did that. I don't quite have the hardware for that. Maybe at some point that will be a thing we could do. Wow, that's so sweet. Device Operator says they would buy tickets to Hot Takes Live. Unreal.
It's very sweet. Maybe we could figure out something one day in the near future.
Yeah, and I have a long list of British and Aussie and artists that in Asia that I would very much like to have on the show.
Across the world, yeah.
But it's the time zone. You know, part of the show is the live experience. And
I know. That's what we're trying to figure out.
Like having Topaz Gang sign on at 4 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time or wherever they are would just be difficult for me.
I just got a message from his wife Charlie the other day saying that they will be in the States again, actually at Philadelphia.
No way.
Like next year, I believe. They're going to be attending WrestleMania. So maybe we can figure something out then.
That's so funny.
So,
just when
Tom might be there. Might be there then.
Bro, that is what I love about. That's why I made this show, because who would have ever thought that Tom from Topaz Gang would be a WrestleMania fan?
Oh,
that's the kind of content I crave.
Yeah.
You know, just finding out the weird shit people are into and getting all that out on the table. Oh man, I have a backlog of notifications that I'm getting. I guess we're getting a lot of skipped frames. So those of y'all that are tuned in, just again, keep us in the know about audio levels. If I'm too quiet, if the music's too loud, if a guest is too quiet, etc. And remember, unfortunately, we'll have to have you hold your questions for tonight because of the fact that we're going to have to kind of blow through large groups of people kind of fast. Yeah. So basically, with the last 3 minutes before we start, we want to thank anybody who has been a longtime supporter.
Yes, thank you very much.
Even if you've never donated, if you've so much as tweeted, if you've so much as tuned in or told a friend about it or just said something nice, we love you for that.
Yes. So for sure. Yeah. You know, really means a lot to me that you guys are here. Really, the show means a lot to me. Connecting with all you people means a lot to me. I love you guys all very much. You know, don't take these things for granted. Don't take your friendships for granted. Don't take the important things in your life for granted. Tell people you love them. Be honest. Be good. And don't fuck it up when you have good things. You guys are doing great.
Hell yeah. I imagine that a lot of people have probably already been longtime fans of vaporwave in general or just any sort of independent electronic or maybe not necessarily electronic music, but I love that we've made this small community. I mean, we didn't create the vaporwave community, but like having a place where people can come together and argue about whether Slow Dive or My Bloody Valentine is better. And of course, all in good fun, right?
I love that, yeah.
So I would like to probably go ahead and get the ball rolling. We have one of our first 3 guests in our live stream chat right now, and we will be greeting the other 2 in turn. I'm kind of nervous. I haven't done this before, so I hope you guys have as good a time as we do tonight. Mesh, buddy, why don't you go ahead and unmute yourself?
Oh, wonderful. What's up, Alex?
Hello.
Do you hear me? Is anybody out there?
Yes.
Got him. Perfect.
Got him.
No.
So,
all right. We're off to a good start then.
We are. And joining us any minute now will be Christ and Frank Jeffs. Oh, there's Christ right now. What's up, buddy? You can go ahead and unmute yourself.
What's up, guys?
Good to have you back on the show, man. While we wait for Frank, I'm going to go ahead and just let it rip with the first question that I have. And starting with Christ, I need to know what is, if you could describe for me your least favorite music.
Oh man, country something like really, like okay, no, not even country. Country I can kind of stand because it's got some, it's got some something to it sometimes. I
Right.
like that. I recently was on a road trip from Jersey to back to Pittsburgh, my brother, and he had like fucking like cassette era radio station, like rock, like
Bruh.
like I wanted to tear my fucking hair out because it was just so abrasive and loud and in your fucking face. Like normally I'd be able to handle that stuff just fine, even like something, but
Right.
like recently I just haven't been able to take that shit at all. It's so.
Is it
degrading.
the like rock country that you don't fuck with? Like, what do you think about?
No.
Oh,
Okay. Like, I'm trying to think of like a single artist or like.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hey
it's
man,
just lately it's been paying my ear,
at the end of the day, I mean, something definitely changed in the 90s, and it became like a hodgepodge, like a contest to see how many genres you could cram into one song, I feel like. So I feel you on that. Everybody say hi to Frank JavC, by the way. Frank is in the chat now.
Hello, Nimesh. Hello, Christ. Hello, Skeleton Lipstick. Hello, young Shiro. I have an essay I wrote for you guys. It's very quick.
Let's go.
Okay.
Vaporwave is a genre of music that has become increasingly popular in the recent years. It is categorized by its heavy use of synthesizer, sample, slow-down, chopped-up versions of popular songs from the 80s and 90s. While some people may find this type of music enjoyable, there are several reasons why Vaporwave is bad. First, Vaporwave often relies heavily on nostalgia to invoke a certain feeling or emotion. While nostalgia can be a powerful tool, it could also be used to manipulate people into buying something they don't want or need. Vaporwave often uses popular songs from the past to create a sense of familiarity and nostalgia, which can lead to people buying the music even if they don't actually like it. Second, Vaporwave often lacks originality. Many Vaporwave songs are simply slowed-down versions of existing songs with little to no original content. This can make music feel repetitive and uninspired, which can be off-putting to many listeners. Third, Vaporwave can be seen as a form of cultural appropriation. Many Vaporwave songs sample music from other cultures, such as Japanese pop music, without giving proper credit or compensation to the original artists. This can be seen as disrespectful and exploitative, and can lead to negative feelings towards the genre. Finally, Vaporwave can be seen as a form of escapism. Many Vaporwave songs are slow and dreamy, and can be used as a way to escape reality. While this may be beneficial for some, it can also lead to many people reliant on music to neglect their responsibilities.
Okay.
Jesus.
That's a solid burn right there.
Mic drop moment.
Mesh.
Bro.
So, just to let you know, it was just an AI. I asked an AI, hey AI, write me an essay on why Vaporwave is bad, and that's what the AI thinks about Vaporwave.
Banned. Quiz.
Wow.
Come get him.
Interesting.
Okay, so that was beautiful and amazing, and definitely quite a condemnation.
Vice has really fallen from grace, man.
Yeah.
I would.
Go ahead. You go.
Go. No, you go ahead, buddy.
Mesh, you have a new album coming out. That's exciting. When are we going to see that?
Probably, hopefully, around summertime, if all goes according to plan.
Is it difficult for you to sort of organize all this, particularly now that you've got like a family, your daughter's growing up, responsibilities at work? It's a hard thing. I mean, I think it's the thing that people don't quite understand when they're younger, and then you get older and you're still doing this, and balancing it is difficult.
Extremely. I mean, it's really it didn't get so hard until about a couple years ago, but for whatever reason. But yeah, it's hard to fit in any time. I work full time, get home, I have family to attend to. So unless I want to stay up until the wee hours of the morning working on stuff, and then I kind of feel it the next day. But it's worth it. I got to get something new out there.
Question for all of you: do you guys think that you will just make music and art forever?
Yes.
Hopefully.
I hope so.
Yeah.
What was your response, Christ? What did you say?
Said hopefully.
Hopefully.
Is it looking good, Christ? Do you think that? What do you forecast right now for the scene? Do you feel like it's as dead as you thought it was last year, or do you feel like it's the same? What do you think?
I don't think the current market's helping.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, no shit, right? A lot has changed in the last year.
Yeah, I mean, it's to be honest, like there's still new music being made. There's still people finding the genre, but to be honest, like the people who would be finding the genre a couple years ago are making their own genre now because the 80s and 90s thing is kind of mainstream now, and
True.
We're all kind of over it already, and so now we're looking for other things to be nostalgic about, and it doesn't really mesh with this vibe that vaporwave put in.
Oh, I get it. I'm really excited about Zoomer vaporwave because, like, low key, I've been seeing like kids obsessed with like the post 9/11 era, and like they're going hard in the paint with that. Like, they're using garage music, that boom boom pap stuff, and like
They really are.
The
They're going really hard with that.
Yeah, so I fuck with that.
Frank, if I could ask you the same question I asked Christ, how would you describe your least favorite music?
Music that hurts people. Like, you know, racist music that's like, we should all gather these small group of people and kill them. But like, I just like things that make me move, you know what I mean? Like, I'll listen to ambience when I'm like sleepy. I listen to binaural beats. That's like my form of sleepy music. But yeah, I don't like music that hurts people.
That's
Chris, you were gonna say something.
No, it wasn't.
Oh.
I did in fact cut Christ off.
I stand corrected.
I'm not as good at the roundtable format as they are on FunnyNet.
We're not very good either.
You know what? I will say it was nice to see you guys broadcast again last night.
Yeah, it was fun to be back for a minute.
For like 4 hours you guys were going. I don't know how y'all do it, to be honest. All right. You got another one for him, Chris?
Live performances. Would you guys do some again sometime? I know, Frank, you will, but what about you, Alex and John?
I think I've been asked plenty of times, and I think if the circumstances are right, and if I can get away from, like life.
I know, I get it.
Then yeah, and I know Ronnie from Vaporspace. He's going to be number one on my list. Because he's been
he would be so happy to
such
hear
a
that.
sweet guy. He's been gently harassing me for years, and I definitely owe him a show. So I really hope to make that happen at some point.
This fool gets asked all the time by people in our neck of the woods. It's you're on a lot of people's lists.
Oh, am I?
You are.
That's nice.
Christ, would you consider playing live shows outside of Econ?
To be honest,
you had a great time.
We all know how much you love live music.
You had a great time.
Yeah, I love live music.
You seem like you were having a great time at Econ.
I mean, at Econ, I'm having a great time because I'm like everybody is there for vaporwave. I just can't go, play like a local show. I can't go play, anything like because honestly, there's just nothing over here on this side of PA.
Right.
You guys got
Stuff in Philadelphia.
Stuff in Philadelphia. What's it called?
Terminally Chill.
Terminally Chill.
The Version 94 guys do stuff like all the time now. They're
that's
super
true.
Involved in like the rave scene here and such.
But like, and honestly, I just hate the shit. It's just so not fun for me. It's like I just when I want people to listen to my music, I want them to sit down, watch it, listen to it, hear it, experience it in that moment, and get something from it. I don't want people going, woo, woo, woo. Fuck that. Man.
Like I was during your set.
Yeah, no, it's awful. I can't stand it.
Yeah,
I get that. We make music more that's catered to headphones and home listening, I guess.
Exactly.
True.
Yeah, it's an interpersonal relationship with music. Like, I find vaporwave is very much person to person, like very introverted. I'm the exact opposite. I love showing up to a place and be like, everybody fucking jump! Ah!
Right.
So I've been
God, I wish I
DJing
had
like
your
crazy.
energy.
Yeah, just do a lot of cocaine. So what I'm doing is I'm DJing Anime Impulse in 2 weeks. Then next week I'm doing Magfest, and then like the week after that I'm trying to get some underground rave going. Because like I'm really into like just, what I've been doing? I've been future funking every song I hear. I just put a kick and I sidechain that shit. And I'm like, sounds better. Let me speed it up. And like I get it now. So like I don't know. I love meeting people. I love, you know what I like? I like getting touched by people. So like I go to a show and I just want them to all touch me. I love getting glomped. So I love like feels, touches, emotions. Also weird smells. I love going to shows where everyone smells weird. So like the best smell in New York
Go
was
on.
Tape Swap. That had the funkiest funk. I was like, hell yeah.
It's like the smell of
This
life
fool
and
right here.
vibrancy.
You know, maybe
Yeah,
I'm
I'll
glad
take
my
it.
nose isn't very good.
I was wearing a mask the whole time, and it was extremely uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But that may have
'Cause it's
been
humid
why
up
I
there.
lasted as long as I did. Yeah, it was hot as piss in Brooklyn, dude. I'd never been
Yeah,
before, and I was just really surprised.
I'm very anti-mask, anti-vax, so I made sure to show my face and lick all the poles in the subway and show it to everyone. I sneezed on a couple people that were wearing masks to let them know that I'm superior to them.
You've got your ethics. What can you say?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
Hot
can't,
take.
can't even be mad. Let's hear it.
Oh, hot take. Yeah. Well, you guys listen
No,
to hot take?
I said that,
That
was
was
a
the hot take.
Uh,
That was a hot
take.
It was
I'll-
kind of
I'll
lukewarm,
allow it.
honestly. It felt
Yeah,
like
like that.
75 degrees.
You guys got any hot takes in general you're thinking about lately?
I have a lot of
no-
hot
no-
takes
no
on life,
pressure.
but I keep them to myself. I
I'm
feel
here
like
meshes.
society isn't ready for some hot takes.
You know what? I think the takes could be hotter in season 3, personally.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah, man. I mean, at the end of the day, it all really depends on whose feelings you're willing to hurt, right?
Yeah, I'm going crazy on that shit.
Just kidding. I'm super not
2023
about that.
is the year of the Edge. I'm about to be like Shadow the Hedgehog in this bish.
I'm always so afraid I'm going to hurt somebody's feelings. That was entirely a joke because I hate that feeling of hurting someone's feelings. It holds me back.
It happens.
Oh, that holds you back. Do you guys think about that? Do you guys try and be more diplomatic when you have opinions, or do you just say it?
It depends on the person I'm talking to, honestly.
Yeah,
True.
I mean, for me, I tend to be blunt sometimes, but at the same time, like, I can also read a room, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an
I'm trying to
unspoken
cool out a
talent.
little bit. I'm trying to cool out a little bit these days.
Yeah.
I had my little internet, my fair share of internet rants, and some of them have gotten a little out of hand. So I try to think twice before.
LMAO.
think before you tweet.
No,
I'm just trying to be as
honestly-
edgy as Mesh is.
well.
Honestly, there's no point in talking about anything that isn't like music related on the internet if you're a musician, because honestly,
Really? Hot take.
bitch, I mean, come on. It's like you can't say anything these days without somebody feeling hurt by it. So just
That's what
don't
an artist
say
should do,
anything. Exactly. Well, I
is
mean,
give people feelings. I
well,
think an
well,
artist should-
you're also the person who's like, oh, I don't want to be hurt by music, or by
Yeah.
musicians.
Well, like, I could just change the channel. We live in like an infinite kind of content.
Just
thing where
curate
you could
your
just be
feed.
like, I want to listen to what I want to listen to. I was actually gonna say, one of my hot takes is I can't wait for the AI to get so good it replaces musicians. I'm tired of musicians.
Jesus.
I'm scared. of that.
I'll allow it.
I'm scared of it
Okay,
too.
thanks.
I want to get Mesh's answer really quick to my question. How would you describe the worst music you've ever heard?
Tom McDonald.
Oh wow.
Period.
Yeah.
I like his one song about having a farm. That one goes hard.
my
Oh,
God.
I never heard the farm
This
song
guy.
by him.
Who's
I
Tom
don't know.
McDonald?
Tom McDonald is like this.
He's like that
He's a
right-wing
who
rapper, isn't
sings
he?
About like
He's a conservative rapper.
conservative
Outspoken
stuff.
Yeah.
He's also a nepotism child. Like his dad
Oh,
owns
no,
McDonald's.
he is.
Aren't
Wait,
they
what?
all?
Yeah.
Wait,
a
his
second.
dad is
That's
who?
not true.
His dad owns McDonald's. His dad's Ronald McDonald. That's why
I
he's
thought-
a clown.
Oh, okay,
Of
that
course.
makes more sense. I thought you were about to say his dad was Michael McDonald, and I was about to be like, "What? There's no way."
No fucking way. There was a right-wing
Oh, man.
rapper in the Channel 5 documentary that just dropped yesterday.
Yeah,
Did anybody
I
watch
just
that
watched
yet?
There's always a
Oh,
rapper.
I
on
want to
Channel-
see that.
That's on
It
my
was
list
good.
to watch.
The
Definitely-
funny thing about Channel 5 is like whenever you watch it, like there's always somebody who interviews is also like, and I can also rhyme, and they start rapping about whatever.
Oh yeah,
they're
it's always like the
No.
first.
That literally
bars.
is every episode of Channel 5. Like somebody's like, also I can rap, and like somebody does some amateur rapping.
We got
It's like,
one more
bruh.
minute. Should we all wrap up our little segment?
What's Channel 5?
It was
What is Channel 5?
formerly known as All Gas
it's a
No,
and
I know-
popular
Brakes.
YouTube channel.
I'm
It's pretty
from
fun.
New Jersey, so I know like Fox 5, Channel
Oh my
5,
God.
I
It's,
know.
Andrew Callahan. He God, he
Andrew
used to be on a
Callahan's
different YouTube channel. Yeah, but great content though.
Absolutely.
It's like
interviewer.
it feels like it's I don't know. There's like the aesthetic of it is very like oh my god the whole. Whenever I watch it, I'm like the entire world is gummo. Like every time I watch it,
Right. He just
He's got a
finds
real
the
knack for like
biggest
pulling
idiots.
those personalities aside and
It's
getting
like
a really good soundbite out of them. You know?
Yeah, and then it's like edited into like a 2-minute.
He's good at talking to people.
It's fun.
I wish I could just go
Yeah,
up
he
to
is.
NPCs and press X. Like that
I
shit
wish I
goes
could
hard.
go to. He's really good at talking to NPCs. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
That's
well
true.
said. Well, Christ, Frank, Metch, thank you so much for joining us
And
tonight.
thank you guys. I'm having a great time. I'm extremely depressed right now, but you guys are making me feel very happy. Let's keep this going.
Cheer up, buddy.
Yeah, I
Aw.
can feel your energy. I'm sucking it out of you.
Thanks, Frank. I appreciate
I'm
it.
gonna ask you guys, unfortunately, to jump out of live stream chat, but thank you so much for being here. Have an awesome night, and you're welcome to hang out in the green room.
Love you guys. Thank you very much, friends.
Big
Thank
love.
you for having me.
We want to welcome now for the second round, Vincent Remember, Mr. Hideyoshi, and
wow.
Todovsky from Virtua 94. We got the
Those guys.
Philly
Oh,
boys
wow.
in.
Oh boy, we got a lot of people.
Yeah,
from
buddy,
the-
we got the Philly boys. What's up, Vincent Remember?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? How y'all feeling tonight?
Well, feeling great
Much better now that
buddy.
you're here.
Hey, thank
You can.
I appreciate it.
There we go. Mr. Hideyoshi just unmuted himself. What's up, buddy?
What's up? Can you hear me?
Can hear
Yes,
you all
we
right.
can.
Let me turn you
What's
up a
up,
little
Vince?
bit.
All right, hold on. Cool.
You're good.
We
You're
got,
good. I got you.
We got Andrew. Is he turned up now too?
Andrew, you
What's
with us,
going
buddy?
on?
I think I heard
Oh
you.
wow! I can't believe you guys even made it here tonight, considering the huge party you guys were throwing on New Year's Eve.
Right.
Yeah, but it's been fun. We did 2 parties this weekend, the night before.
Jesus,
and
dude.
on New Year's.
You don't even understand how
Virtua
much
94
they do.
doesn't
It's
sleep.
insane. I don't know how they do it, but these were like sold out big parties too. They have like taken. Vincent, you got to come to one of these things that Virtua 94 throws. It's incredible.
Yeah, man. I'm out here doing DoorDash, man. I've been doing like job after job after job, but I definitely want to get out to come party with y'all, man.
I've seen you DJ. You can throw down, buddy.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Well, I got a question for y'all, and I want to start with Mr. Hideyoshi. Since you guys throw a lot of live shows, right? What is your favorite live show that you've ever attended?
Oh, that's a good question. Kind of put me in the spot. I have to think a little bit, but
there is no rush, buddy.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to take up too much time. I really enjoyed some of the kind of like basement shows that I went to when I was in college. In
Right.
Temple. Like some of those shows kind of inspired me to just be like, oh, you can do this yourself. You know, you don't have to have a big venue.
Right.
Yeah.
I used to like some of the Midwestern like emo stuff that was like popular, like the emo revival stuff in Philly before like I was more into vaporwave and stuff. So I saw Marietta, I think, at Temple, and I saw like Lockamora over at the First Unitarian Church, which were pretty cool shows.
Oh, love the
Bands,
First
like,
Unitarian.
Don't exist anymore. So
First Unitarian has been around since like 1995 doing shows over there. I can't believe that they still are going. But anyway, let's keep going.
Hello. Oh my God, this XLR cable is going out.
Let me ask. Okay, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I'm going to do some troubleshooting.
I mean, you guys can jump in if you want to talk about a live show that you really love a lot too. But let me ask you, how has music production changed for you since you first started doing this to today? Like, do you have different techniques that you use, different sounds you've been focusing on? What's kind of changed since you first started making music? Let me ask Vincent that question first.
For me, the thing that has changed is the way I've been approaching just creativity. Like, I haven't been like so laptop heavy.
Yeah.
We might be losing you a little bit there, buddy.
Past topping, and so I started to focus more so. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, cool. I was saying I started to focus more so on like MPC, production, and like the SP404 and stuff like that. Just so that I feel more creative when I actually am hands on rather than just doing laptop stuff, or just slowing music down and all that stuff. Like I want to bring a whole different element, especially like the hip hop shit I'm into.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. Interesting. Hideyoshi and Tosca, what about you guys? I feel like your guys' sound is always in flux a lot too. What do you think has changed a lot since you first started making music to now?
I would say what changed a lot. I would say in the live music aspect is the way we do shows before and after COVID. It was a weird way for us to come back because we were going so high at the end of 2019, especially with you, Chris.
Yeah,
we were going incredibly high, and we were only going higher, especially after Electronicon, both 1 and 2.
Yeah.
But I would say after COVID was what was really hard about making music and bringing people out. It wasn't until like a year and a half after it hit until we can actually finally start having shows again. That was the hardest part on how to bring people back and like what was the appeal to bring them back in person rather than URL. Because we were going high with that too, but we really wanted to go back IRL, especially with vaporwave and all the other raves we've been doing.
Damn, good point, buddy. It's been tough for anybody that tours or that is trying to not necessarily turn a profit, but like not go broke on a show. You know, it seems like everybody's getting squeezed. So big respect to anybody out there that's still scrapping, still trying to bring that entertainment and create that safe space and that like culture, that local culture, you know?
Yeah. Let me go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I just really want to ask other questions of the virtual guys too. So what advice do you guys have for people who want to promote shows? You guys have been doing this pretty consistently for at least like almost like 2 years now, with pretty consistent raves in the underground scene, and they've been very successful, and you've had to navigate a lot of different difficulties in that process of doing it. Do you have advice for people who want to start doing that themselves?
Yeah, I think that you need a good team of people who you can trust to kind of like work with. It helps when you have kind of like other people who you can trust behind the scenes who will help you with kind of putting pieces of the puzzle together. Like if you want to have an event and giving you leads on maybe locations and people who would be trustworthy to have involved, because obviously everything with the underground is kind of like very tender and there isn't a lot of security. Like if you choose to be careless, there can be a lot of bad repercussions that come from that. So I would just say like be on your toes and make sure you have some good contacts that you could depend on, a good team. And then when it comes to promoting your shows, I think that the internet is a great place to do it. It never hurts to promote in like any way. You could try to promote locally, like physically is a good way. But again, your social media is going to be important. Try to get that promotion out there early, probably like a month ahead of time.
Wow.
And, everything is going to be, I would always say a month ahead of time promotion.
Damn.
Is definitely a good bet. You could get pre-sales going if you guys, use any form of like ticket service or you have a website. It's always best if you have a ticket link as opposed to just like door, in my opinion. Maybe you can
for sure.
Portion it some for pre-sale and then keep some reserved for the door if you think people are going to show up. That's another good idea. Just things like that to try to ensure that you have the most time to really plan your event, have the word out there, and that things will go smoothly in like the day that it comes.
Hell yeah.
Good stuff. Vincent, can I ask you another question really quick?
Of course not.
Yeah. You've been doing this for a long time, you're a very early artist. Has it been difficult for you to balance, your personal life, your working life, and your music life?
Oh yeah, it's definitely been highly difficult. We're talking about the pandemic and post-pandemic shit. It's just been like very hard to balance everything. Where I also, of course, have children and everything too. So it's
I know that's what I was asking too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been hectic trying to balance everything and really trying to just like just sit down and focus on being creative or even finishing something, because I personally haven't finished the project since the last project I put out with my guy Oscar and whatnot. I'm
Bedlam tapes.
drawing a blank right now. Yeah. And that was a cool piece that I put out, but I just haven't been like, all right, let me sit down and finish all these ideas. I have like over 5,000 like unfinished ideas on my computer.
Wow.
Finish.
Yeah,
like literally.
Yeah, so it gets to the
Sitting
point
on
where
a
like,
gold
you
mine.
start, and you gotta like
Yeah.
the actual finishing is the thing, huh?
Yeah. My output is a little low when it comes to finishing stuff right now.
I think it's a common problem that we all have as we get older and we keep trying to do this because it just becomes like it's really easy to start something, but then to sit down and finish it requires that concentration that you seem to be placing elsewhere in your life. You know?
Right.
I want to get your answer to that question too, Vincent. Since we have you talking, what is your favorite live show that you've been to?
So my favorite live show was the first show that I did as Vincent remember, which was at Kung Fu Necktie here in Philly.
Okay.
The one I did with groceries. You know.
Shout out groceries.
Yeah, I've been cool with Jordan since like 2014. The project I put out, Power Decisions, which is hilarious. That's actually one of his pieces that he put together that I asked to use.
Oh,
no way.
I didn't know
Okay.
Yeah. And one of the go ahead.
When was this show?
This was 2016, I think.
Damn.
Oh, was it upstairs or downstairs at Kung Fu Necktie?
It's upstairs.
It
Me
was
and Andrew were at this show.
R.I.P.
No
upstairs.
way. That's so cool.
R.I.P. upstairs. That
Yeah, we
area's
were
not
there
open
that
anymore.
show. That was one of our
Damn,
favorite shows. We
son.
still talk about that to this day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That was the day we
that
met.
was dope.
We met Vince Remember and Groceries that night.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's too clean.
Too clean. I love that.
Okay,
man,
so
that was a dope show.
that's your favorite show. What about your favorite show that you've attended, like as in one of your favorite artists?
I think when I went to go see Tune Yards at the Union
man,
Transfer.
I forgot about
Interesting.
Tune Yards.
Forgot about
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I think that was an outstanding show.
That
So the,
vocalist has a hell of a set of pipes on him.
Yeah.
Yeah. She the vocalist, she had I had a pair of sunglasses on, and she like took my sunglasses, and there's a picture floating out there wearing my sunglasses, and me and my partner Camp Candle was like banging on the fucking
Camp Candle,
on
shout
the
out.
stage, and yeah. So we were just having fun that night. It was like that was one of my favorite shows. That and Tennis, the band Tennis.
You never cease to amaze me with the like random shit you're into that I never would have guessed. Those are some like chill wave deep cuts.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah.
What about you, Toad of Sky? What's your favorite live show you've attended?
It's hard to say. I've been to so many different shows and so many different like sounds of music, different genres I've seen. I feel like one that really sticks out to me is in Philly at the Trocadero. I saw All That Remains.
Wow.
With Asking Alexandria back in like
Oh,
2011.
that's an interesting choice.
Damn.
R.I.P.
Yeah,
Trocadero.
I feel like it was a perfect blend between like metal and post-hardcore at the time, because a lot of metalheads weren't really into what post-hardcore was becoming, so it was cool to see both of the types of metalheads together for one show.
Bro, that's what I'm talking about. I have not had the pleasure of seeing. I think I saw Russian Circles, and that was it. But I'm
nice.
I love post metal. Well, I'm not as into it as I used to be, but man, I had a huge post metal phase.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, let me ask y'all. We got 2 more minutes. Are there any questions you guys have ever wanted to ask each other?
Ask each other? Well,
yeah.
I have a question for you. What inspired you to make hot takes and to bring us all together? I feel like was the main point. I feel like you've been very good with that, especially IRL. Even when we met, you were good at bringing people together. Is that what really made you want to make hot takes?
So,
and Chris too. He does a good job at that as well. I know that.
I picked Chris because he and I have actually surprisingly similar taste in music, and we love discussing our favorite kind of music on Facebook or random social media. So a huge group chat one night between me, him, I think Will Wade and Porter Vaughn inspired me to want to do something like this so that we could find out that Vincent Remember fucks with Tune Yards.
Exactly.
And that you fuck with post metal. That's the kind of content I crave.
Yeah. I was happy to be involved in it because I thought it would be a nice way to document all these wonderful people and friends that we have that have so many interesting takes on art, music, and the creative process. And I'm pleased to be a part of it.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys are doing it.
Oh, thank you, man. We're glad that you guys are doing what y'all are doing in Philly. Everybody say goodbye to the Philly gang. I hate to ask you guys to do this, but Vincent, Mr. Hideyoshi, Toad of Sky, thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thanks for having us.
Go ahead.
We'll see you in Philly soon.
Bro, I can't wait.
Indeed.
Y'all be safe.
All right.
Good night.
Have a good night.
All right, we got our
Good
third round. Good night, Vincent. For those of y'all still with us, we got our third round of guests. Chris, you want to introduce our third round? Can you see him Can you see him, or should I?
I know we got FM Skyline, Lux Elite, and our dear friend Dan Mason.
Yeah,
Hello,
go ahead
guys.
and unmute yourselves, guys.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
Welcome to the Welcome to Hot Takes, you guys.
Hey.
It's hot in here. Whew.
It's now that the three of you guys are here. Woo! I might have to take my shirt off. I have to put the flames emoji up. Starting with Mr. Dan Mason, if I could pick your brain first of all, I want to hear what track, album, or artist is your favorite example of your favorite genre of music?
Oh no.
And the two of y'all, Lux and FM Skyline, y'all can be thinking about your answers.
They get time to think.
They get time to think. You get to be on the spot. You can do it.
All right, so my favorite genre of music. So I'm a Midwest emo boy.
Yeah.
Especially in the last couple years, I've been slipping into that. I think my favorite example of it, it would be the album we just got back from the comfort. From Discomfort, I think, or so it's I don't know. It's a really long title name because it's emo. By Brave Little Abacus, the band Brave Little Abacus.
Yeah, we got some
group.
Brave Little Abacus fans in chat.
Love them, so good.
Damn. Okay, that's solid. All right, what about you, FM Skyline? What is your favorite track, artist, or album that is you think of an example of your favorite genre of music?
I don't know. So much.
That's a tough one.
I wasn't prepared for such a broad,
a
broad-siding, all-encompassing thing.
That is pretty broad.
Pretty broad. There's a lot of music.
There's too much music, isn't there?
There is.
Hot take. There's too much music.
Damn
There's
it.
a lot of music.
Stop making the music.
There needs to be less music. Equip would say music isn't real.
Dun dun dun.
Lux, do you have an answer ready, or should we get a Chris question while y'all think about it?
Well, I mean, I have a lot of favorite different genres. They kind of crisscross. Like, I had my new wave moment. I had my no wave moment. I had my post-punk moment. I guess
moment
in
are
this
you in right now? Yeah.
I guess I've been back in my vaporwave moment because I've been determined, especially with Neon Nights back, to just try to get into what I've missed in like the last 4 years. As for favorites, it's really hard. I mean, I guess I can give a shout out to Computer Dreams because Midnight Television was what inspired it in the first place. So I can say that. I'm trying to think of others, but I'm blanking. This is a really broad question for this broad right here, dear. What are you doing? You should have warned me.
My bad.
Lux, I can fire off if you want to think about it.
You got this. I think I said my answer. You go for it.
iTunes, and I figured I'll just say something really on brand. And so I guess my favorite genre of music is weird computer synthesizer music that wasn't supposed to be listened to heavily, and for that I'll go to Magic Theater from Jan Hammer's Beyond the Mind's Eye soundtrack.
Ooh,
oh yeah,
some
that's a good one.
slapper recommendations, you three.
Yeah,
I love the Mind's Eye series. God damn, Chris, you got some questions for our three?
Yeah, sure. I have a question, guys. When you start getting ready to make music, is it a disciplined thing for you, or do you do it when you feel it? Does it have to be like you feel it and then you have to do it, or is it like you set time aside?
I like to be in the practice of it. I like to be doing it. You know, I like to be like, okay, I'm writing music in this period of time. I like to work in the morning and try to, you know, whenever I have an idea, I have to make a voice memo, come back to it. So I'm kind of methodical in that way.
Yeah. Okay, so you're more methodical. Okay.
I go for just like, the thing is I have a day to work on it.
Yeah.
So like that's all I do, and it's just like, oh, so I can just do it when I feel it.
and I usually typically just go for when I feel it. I do try to set some time aside if I'm not even like gonna make something that I'm gonna finish. At least aside to just work on something, to practice, and just like keep myself fresh and keep myself in mode of writing.
Yeah,
so, there is a little bit of a mix on it. Yeah.
Okay, that's probably ideal for most people. Lux?
Hey.
I already know the answer to this.
Oh, okay.
What? What was the question? Because I got distracted by the chat, admittedly.
No problem. Just
The
when
chat
you
is
make
going
music,
wild.
When you make music, is it a methodical practice where you set time aside, or is it a feeling you do it when you feel it?
It's kind of chaotic. It's basically whenever it just kind of happens whenever it happens. I go through moments of not having any motivation at all to maybe even the smallest thing making me go into hyper focus mode. So I don't really have a specific time. I do notice, like, at least I just released 1-800 Tonight a few weeks ago.
Shout out.
Yes, thank you.
It's one of my personal favorites.
Oh, thank you, dear. I worked on that mainly at like 12 midnight, 1 in the morning, really late hours, which really worked for the vibe for it. But usually, like, other than that, it's just there's no time limit. It's just whenever it comes to me, basically.
Damn. Solid answers. I guess it's a little all over the place.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys this on a more serious note. If you had to identify, and I'll start with Dan again, if you had to identify what you think is the biggest problem with music right now, what would you say?
Oh man. I mean,
wow.
There's so many problems to choose from too.
No shit, right? Which one?
I would just say copyright law abuse is really, really, really fucking bad. But I could go on a tangent about it. It's just shit. It's too long. It doesn't make any sense from an artist perspective. Copyright law being that long and that like hard, it just hurts everybody more than it does.
I agree.
That's the first one that comes to mind for me.
And it seems like the artists don't care about it as much as like the fucking like distributors do.
It is literally just, it's a big company thing because in America we don't have small claims courts for copyright law, so someone's got to be making a shit ton of money off your music anyway to be able to sue them about it and everything. And even still, art is so fucking derivative of other people's art. Like, who fucking cares?
Hell yeah. FM Skyline, what do you think is the biggest problem with music right now?
It's always weird to make, broad strokes. But I guess as far as what's really popular, like, it feels like this last year, I guess this is sort of a post-COVID catharsis, but it's been very much an era of, like, sort of, like, being sexy and, like, attitude and stuff. And, like, I like music that has imagination, I mean, I like to dance and stuff, but I want to see, like, the weirdo, nerdy stuff kind of come back in the mainstream again.
I feel that, man.
I feel that pretty hard because you're right. I mean, it's so much like pressure on like music to just grab your attention. So it's like you're right. It's getting too sexy. I agree with you. Like lately
sounds really crotty. Old man yells at cloud at me or something.
Yeah, I mean, I
that's
feel
just how I am.
I feel that though. I mean, at the end of the day, like it has become very algorithm driven, and big shout outs to people that are winning big with the algorithm. Like, I respect people who have figured out how to wrangle and control it, but like, it's a completely different ball game now.
Well, being able to do it on your own terms is the real brass ring, I guess, right?
Right.
Real brass
Which
ring.
I guess all of us, involved in this whole vaporwave thing are really able to do that. When we get the algorithm paying attention to us, which is cool.
Lux, thoughts? Biggest problem with music right now?
Well, I would also say, my thing was going to kind of be in like a similar realm. I actually had like a bit of a two-parter, actually. But I do kind of hate that I kind of hate that TikTok has kind of forced artists to have to make shorter songs is what I'm looking for. Shorter songs. Everything has to be 2 minutes. A pop song is 2 minutes long now, and I think that's really weird. Everything has to be straight to the point to appeal to being played on TikTok. I kind of think that TikTok in general is a bit of a problem between that and artists kind of having to come out and say, hey, I got forced to do this TikTok so that way I could do promotion for my album. I think that's kind of bullshit. And then my part B was also, I really wish that Spotify would pay us better, but everybody knows that rant already.
I mean, it's a fact, and it is a problem, so I never get tired of people talking about Spotify underpaying people. I mean, it's good that they pay people something, right? And some people are having their careers launched thanks to Spotify, but nonetheless, could definitely be paying better.
If I got that full cent per play, bro, I'd be living
full
the
cent.
dream.
Full cent.
Full send on the full cent.
We're getting paid in Bitcoin. Bitcoin percentages. Let's go.
Oh Lord.
Really tiny amount. Yeah.
I think that the Spotify topic is I think it's kind of a two-edged thing. I think definitely we should get paid more. At the same time, it is like, I remember the world before Spotify.
Right.
Yeah. I don't want to go back. This huge tacit income thing that's just there. But at the same time, it's a pretty ridiculous percentage. It's I think it's a double-edged sword. But of course, I'm eating beans and rice every fucking week, so I wish I was getting paid more.
At least go up with inflation or some shit. Don't keep it at the same
right?
rate it was fucking 10 years ago. Jesus Christ.
It's literally just like minimum wage, bruh.
Yeah.
For real.
Right.
And that's why, I do love the fact that our scene is very merch driven. At least I feel like it is. I think more people should be buying shirts, physical releases. I don't collect physicals, but I do buy merch, and I pay for the digital ones. So
the people in this community are honestly so much easier to get support from, and they're so supportive, than any other community that I've ever tried to be a part of. People in this community will actually go out and oh, you have a vinyl out? I'm gonna buy that. Oh, you have a cassette out? I'm gonna go buy that.
Oh, you have a different variant of that vinyl? I want that too.
Yeah, people in this community are really supportive, and I love that about this community so much.
Such a tight knit community, and it's I guess the joy of it being born of online, of online community, and it's always stayed there. So it's like we're always connected, which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
go ahead.
You got a good one. Go for it.
No, I was just.
I see it on your face.
I think it's the accessibility of the artist and the accessibility of
I was thinking that
of everybody being able to participate is a big part of the whole thing.
It very much is, isn't it? The fact that you guys. Go ahead, buddy.
I'm trying to reach out to artists in other scenes because I've been trying to because I want to make connections with other scenes as well, and have them listen to our music and have us listen to their music.
Got you,
bro. I have tried to reach out to so many emo bands.
Really?
Try to see if anything. I've only had one ever respond. Shout out to Hey I Love You. They're a cool little synth pop emo band. Wow. They're fucking really cool. Check them
damn.
Out.
We'll check them out.
You should pop a link in the chat when you get a minute.
Yeah, I will actually.
Well, let me ask you guys: are there any questions you guys have ever wanted to ask each other and never had the chance?
Well,
do you guys like me?
I love you.
Oh, you heard it on Hot Takes.
You're very loved. When is Wacky Wonky Windows happening again?
Oh my god! Oh wow!
I was hoping to hear that.
Nearly forgot about that.
Oh, I got it. Well, Luke just became a father, so I've got I think he's been busy, so we got to circle back around when you get the little guy walking or something,
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Right. Yeah.
What an adorable little guy they are too.
Right.
I forgot. I saw that. That's awesome.
Damn.
Yeah.
Skelly, you got any parting?
It needs to happen.
It does. It badly does. I mean, it would be so complimentary.
It really would be.
The funniest thing I've ever.
Sorry to put you on the spot. I couldn't resist.
I love it. Yeah, it's funny.
Dan, you know what Wacky Wonky Windows is, right?
Yeah. I think I've been seeing.
Very cool. Skelly, any parting last shots before we say goodbye to these three?
Sure. Let me just ask really quick if there was anything else that you guys wanted to either incorporate into your music, that you haven't done yet. What would it be? Whether that be different types of samples that you kind of want to start using, or different types of instrumentation, or even different types of presentation of the art. Anything that you guys have been thinking about that you would add?
I'm just really into just developing what I want to do and not trying to reach out, not trying to incorporate things that I feel like I ought to, and I'm just I just started like a subscription service where I'm gonna be writing tons and tons of music.
Yeah,
that's
buddy.
kind of something. Well, that counts as a thing. I saw that. That counts, I think. Yeah.
Drop a link to that if there is one. Drop it in the chat.
Oh yeah.
Because it looks fucking badass.
Thank you. Thanks.
It does.
Anybody else real quick before we have to tell y'all goodbye?
Well, I was just considering just kind of branching out a little bit more in my source material, which I kind of started doing in Ocean Pacific some.
Yeah.
I just kind of want to do something a little more different. Keep myself on my toes some and not go for samey material.
It's been exciting.
Interesting.
I think it's been a great development.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I know we have to head out. I'm just doing more odd time signatures. That's it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Your music has been in a constant state of flux, and I live for it.
Make me twirl in 7/4, please. Let's go.
I already have something going for you. I got something great for you.
Nice.
Let's go.
Nice. All right.
Captain Jazz collab win.
Please.
All right, we got Uniwa, Sound Market, and Ronnie in the chat. So everyone say goodbye to Dan Mason, FM Skyline, and Luxury Elite. Goodbye, guys.
Goodbye, guys. See y'all.
We got our Central Time homies, our St. Louis, and I believe Uniwa is out in Little Rock, last I checked.
Oh, yeah.
So we got the Vaporspace / Central Time. And Uni, you played Vaporspace. Technically, you're a Vaporspace homie.
Yeah, I am.
You are a Vaporspace. And so are the two of us.
Yes, we have.
Oh yeah, you guys played a great show too. All three of y'all.
Oh, you're too kind.
Oh my God.
Let me start off with Sound Market, since I got you on the horn. This is I got some spicy ones for you guys, especially because some of y'all have your hands, and I already know you've got some hot ones for me. All right, no names, okay? But if you had to explain why you dislike the most overrated act in your scene, why would that be?
Well, the Singularity Tour, Uniwa, just wait, no names?
That's a hot one.
No, I'll think about this for a second. I want to craft a really hateful response.
You want me actually to say a name?
No. Well, you know what? If you say a name, I'm not going to stop you.
I don't want to. No.
Go for it, bro.
Please, bro. This is hot takes. I won't make you stop.
I will tell you why. I'll tell you.
That's all I need.
That's fine.
Everything else is extracurricular.
That's fine.
In my opinion, it's the inability to evolve past a certain point.
Amen.
And that's where I'm at.
That's some real shit right there, actually.
I hear that a lot.
There are some people in the scene that have a sound that works for them, and this is like, I'm not focusing this on one person or anything, but there are some people in the scene who did find a sound that works for them and have not moved past that point yet.
Very true. So we need evolution. We need people to grow.
I at least maybe not even evolution. I at least just want to see maturity musically from some artists that maybe haven't gotten there yet.
Fair.
Interesting.
Yeah, same. I want to see the growth is a part of the story. You know what I'm saying?
It is.
I think I talked about this last time I was on. You feel me?
You did. Yeah, that's a good point. Growth is a part of the story, and honestly, I think that we appreciate seeing artists do that because you kind of want to watch them take that journey because you yourself are taking a journey as you grow, and you want to see the artists you love do it as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Ronnie, any thoughts?
When I think of overrated people in the scene and what I think the problem is it comes down to ego. But
that's also based right there.
Yeah, true.
Based truth. That's
based and ego pilled.
I try to stay away from it. It's easy enough to cut a few people out because most of the scene is not egotistical. A few are, but most isn't.
There's no way that you can confront people on that either because that's the nature of ego. You end up just butting heads against someone who has this ego, and you just can't explain it to them because they're not willing to listen to that kind of talk, which is fine. Live your life like that if you want to, but it's cutting you out of opportunities.
Yeah.
Very well said. Okay. So I think those are honestly pretty popular responses, and I think genuinely the majority of any scene would probably agree with y'all on that. Let me
All
ask
right.
you guys.
Thank you for calling us uncreative. Fuck it.
Okay,
I'm just
that's
messing.
not
I'm
what I
messing.
said. But
I'm
you know,
messing. I'm messing.
I know, buddy. Let me ask you guys this: are there any artists? Because there are some people who definitely have like a certain sound locked down. Is there any artist that you can think of that like just does it so well that you wouldn't even care if they never changed it up at all because they just
Blank
do it so
Banshee.
damn? Okay.
Luxury Elite.
Oh, good take.
Right.
Skyline.
Yeah. And I mean, it could be argued that some of those artists actually have tweaked their sound, you know, a bit, but not like so much so that it's unrecognizable.
Oh yeah. I mean, with the Blank Banshee take, I know Blank Banshee has evolved throughout his career, but generally, I love where it is and where it hasn't moved to.
I mean, the music for Menus was kind of strange.
Well,
Did you guys like that one at all?
What's that?
Music for Menus. Did you guys like
Okay.
that one at all? Haven't heard it?
Music for Menus? I don't even. Who makes that?
Didn't Blank Banshee make a Music for Menus album?
Not that I know of.
Okay,
No,
maybe
I
I'm
don't- I don't- I'm not- I'm
maybe
not-
I'm
I don't know about
misremembering. I'll have to go.
It's
I'll
okay.
have to go double check.
I could check that. I could look it up real quick.
It was very very ambient. Okay, I'm not crazy. Lux says he did. Well,
Okay.
we'll move on since it seems a lot of people haven't heard it. Chris, have you got any questions for these fine fellas?
Yeah. For Ronnie, what motivates? Well, for Ronnie and Sam, I guess. What motivates you guys to keep staying up the shows? Like, what is the big inspiration to do that?
The more
can
I do
start,
it,
Ron.
the better it gets.
Oh, it's so
No
true.
shit. That's a good
The more-
answer.
The more that Ron and I do this, the more people we meet that we end up, you know, having personal relationships with and friendships with, and we party with them more frequently. And just seeing people that are excited to come out and appreciate the genre with us is more than enough motivation.
Gotcha. All right.
Hell yeah.
Uniwa. Where are you going next with the sound? You're always changing it. And each album always has a different vibe and a different sort of technique to it. What is your next move going to be?
To be honest, basically where I'm in my career is I love like house music.
Yes. Fuck yeah, let's go. Wow.
Yes.
I really fucking love house music.
My man.
Yeah.
I smoke weed to it and I just listen to it and I analyze it. And I want to advance into contemporary house, and I want to make it a staple of the Uniwa sound, and I want to expand upon the concepts and etherealness and euphoria that I put in my nostalgia and my shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm trying to kind of take it in a different direction and try some new things. That's why.
Can I ask a question, Uni?
Yeah.
You talk about nostalgia and all this. Are you talking about like you want to make some disco house, some deep house? Like
I want to know this.
Interesting
I
question.
kinda
Interesting
see-
question.
I see myself as in like I try to create nostalgia for a time that hasn't happened yet. If that makes sense.
Fuck
It
yeah,
might
let's
not
go.
That's
make
cool.
sense.
That's well said.
It might not make sense, but it's like definitely like the time hasn't happened yet, but it's going to.
Let's
And
go, dude.
That's
I'm very
what
excited to hear what you're cooking up because I love house music. It might be simple, but it works, and it works incredibly well.
Man,
you could
don't even call it simple, man. It's just good music. It doesn't matter how complex it. Like that shouldn't even be part of the question. If you vibe to it, you vibe to it.
Thoroughly agree. There are some naysayers out there, but that's you and I are of one mind about that.
The naysayers can suck my dick easy.
Damn, I wish I was a naysayer.
Yes.
All right,
You know,
next.
I also, my bad.
No, my bad. Keep it up.
I was gonna say we also should announce the St. Louis show. I'm booked for February 24th, one of my first out of state shows. I'm heading out of Arkansas, Missouri.
Have y'all
You know
announced
what I'm
that
saying?
yet?
We just announced it just now.
Okay,
you were
this
present for
is
it.
us announcing it now.
Prior to that. That's fucking badass.
Yeah.
My first time since
February
the pandemic.
24.
That is February 24th. Come see Uni Wa, my man. Ron, who else? Can you give me the?
Well, one of them's in the chat. I hope that it's not all confirmed yet.
Ooh,
but
one of them is in the chat.
Yeah, we got one in the chat. We've got another one from St. Louis, and
Very
we've
cool.
got. It's going to be a great show.
Is it going to be at Platypus again or elsewhere?
It's going to be at Platypus.
That was a great venue. At least I liked it. Chris, did you like Platypus?
Great venue. You guys do amazing work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'm so glad he didn't say he hated it.
We're excited to go back to Platypus. We haven't been back there. My hot take is related to the live shows. If you're at all interested.
Holy shit!
What?
My hot take is that those of us who are listening, the important thing is we need to be participating in our underground local music scene. We need to be going to more shows. We need to be, if you need to mask up and go to a show, then I see masks at every show I go to. Whatever it takes to get you out the door, and staying out a little late, and being around other people and listening to music live and loud because you're probably not doing it enough.
And if I can piggyback off of that right now, Ron is not just talking about vaporwave, because you probably don't. Some people just don't have vaporwave shows is where they are.
Yeah,
but if
true.
you're not, you need to go to your chill wave shows, like your ambient shows that are happening in your area.
Your
I swear to
experimental
God,
shows.
there are experimental shows. I swear to God, there are some nerds with synthesizers doing ambient and experimental shows where you live. They're everywhere. It's like roaches.
Yeah.
But
And
look, if
team
you're
up
not
with those
going to
guys.
these shows, yeah, absolutely team up with these guys. If you're not going to these shows, then you are like actively not supporting the scene that you want to come up in, and that's your problem.
It needs more attendees. It needs more people paying covers and having fun. And you start
buying
going,
drinks, buying merch.
Just and enjoy yourself. Like make it a way that you can go and have fun. Like figure out who you want to be around. Go by yourself, meet new people. Whatever it's gonna take for you to get to the show. Go to the show.
Go to the show. Great advice, and you heard it on Hot Takes. Is there anything you guys have always wanted to ask each other? I love this question. Sorry.
Oh man, there's so many horrible things I want to ask Ron right now, but I just shouldn't.
I don't care at all about anything that Paul does.
All right, Ron, I have 4 questions.
I never think about him.
How big is your dick? What does your poop smell like? How big is your poop? What does your dick smell like? Just let me know.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I got a question.
That's
but
a
I
hot
don't know.
take.
I got a question. I got a question.
Unbelievable. Hey, Videodrome, welcome.
Yeah, shout out Videodrome for the 10 party raid.
Oh, yeah. Oh, boy.
Oh, my God. 10 party raid. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much,
Fuck yeah,
Videodrome. That's so
Videodrome.
sick.
Just talking about support, and Videodrome rolls through with the raid. Uni, what was the question you said you wanted to ask?
I don't know if it incriminates Ronnie though.
Uh-oh.
Definitely don't want to
God.
incriminate.
Hit it.
A little light incrimination. Let's go.
Yeah, code words, please.
Where you get that good ass weed from?
Oh my God, dude. I get it from Ron. Thank you for asking.
Oh man.
It is wonderful weed. It really is.
Ron
And
with the
I-
St. Louis hookup.
That shit was gas, bro.
I
Shit was
found it.
gas.
I found it.
Good stuff. Well,
Found it on the side of the road, yeah.
Skelly, do you have another quick one for the boys before we have to tell them good night?
Here. No, I'm actually okay right now. This has been, I don't know what to ask after the questions that sound like
I've got a quick one. I want to
sorry
ask
if that was
you.
inappropriate.
I have a quick one for Uni.
I dig.
I just didn't want to talk all night long, but Uni, you've had some pretty good success, not just in vaporwave, but in other scenes like the synthwave scene too, man. Why do you think some acts blow up and get popular and some of them don't?
I was just talking to my manager about this earlier. I think that everybody's journey is different. Everybody's ability to adapt is different, and also the time in which they do can vary. So I think it's like it's really intricate, because I feel like, of course, people that are younger can get ahead of the wave early. Like I started when I was like 13,
Jesus.
So
Right.
I was able to get way like, you know what I'm saying? I was able to be shitty for a little period of time, then get up. And
I love the rawness in this man's
and when the
answers.
time came for me to really truly find my sound and like really create a brand, like I could do it. But like everybody's ability to do that is like different, or you know what I'm saying?
Interesting.
Well said.
So
Very interesting.
it comes down to that, yeah.
Very
Okay.
interesting stuff.
I like the optimism and the just like realness of that answer. So I appreciate that. Well, fellas, thank you so much for joining us. I don't want to boot y'all off, but there is a time to say goodbye to everybody. Thank you so much for being here and for being y'all.
Thanks for having us. Go to shows.
Thank you guys.
Absolutely. Stick around for Wizard of Loneliness. He's working the hardest in the scene.
January 20th, Vape Error in St. Louis with with KC, with Sound Market, and with No Genki. It's going to be awesome.
yeah.
And then February
Let's
24th
go.
with Uniwa and more. We're-
Amazing. You guys are doing the most. Good night, guys.
See
Good
y'all.
night. You.
And everybody say hello to our next round of guests. We have 3D Blast in the house. We have Disco Holic.
Hi.
And we have the Wizard of Loneliness. Welcome to Hot Takes, guys.
I'm here.
I'm gonna.
Hi. This is, are we the silly group?
You know,
Silly group.
I didn't really
I
have
saw the docket. They labeled
wow.
this Clown Crew.
Clown
They labeled.
Damn, just calling me out. I know this is Hot Takes, but goddamn, guys. Okay, starting with Disco Holic, if I may, before I go grab a drink. What is the most overrated Daft
See?
Punk song?
He's going to get a drink while he's supposed to be hosting this.
Posting.
What is
Let
the
me
most
get this
overrated
going. I
Daft
like it.
Punk song?
Well, he's like, now that the clown crew's here, I can hang. I don't have to do too much.
I want you to shit talk a Daft Punk song.
Okay.
Wait,
the most overrated Daft Punk song.
I'm sorry, Chris.
Yeah, go ahead. No, I like this. Let's go. Go get your drink.
What?
Yeah,
I kind of
enjoy.
want to
He's
know
not
the
gonna
answer.
say anything
and
of
the
substance.
both of you guys, the question really is, what is your favorite act's most overrated song? So if
Wait,
it's
can I
not,
answer?
yeah,
No. Okay, well, you go get your drink and I'll answer the question.
yeah, go answer the question. I'll just watch it on the VOD.
Okay.
watch
Hi,
on
I
VOD.
am Isaac. This first question is for Disco Holic. I think
what he sounds like.
No, that's not what he sounds like.
This is what he sounds like.
No.
Keep going.
Oh.
Dude, one of you.
Did he get his
he's
drink
back
yet?
already.
Wait.
He got his drink. What's the answer to
Get
the
your
question?
drink.
Go drink.
Damn it.
Oh, come on.
We got it.
We got this.
Oh, we got it. This.
They got this. So the most overrated Daft Punk track is probably "Get Lucky."
What the That's a really good answer. It's probably the most. It's not a bad track. It's just possibly the most overrated because it gets played the most. Yes.
Have you
There
heard the song On Off?
Where are you speaking?
I'm talking through my paper towel roll.
That's not how Isaac sounds.
He's got his own megaphone. He brought his own.
What the
his
fuck?
his own bullhorn.
Have you heard
of On Off?
Have you? Buy it, use it, break it, SpongeBob.
I think that's the most overrated.
That's a good answer too.
That got its own
Technologic?
soundboard.
Technologic is the most overrated for you?
Yeah. I think that Get Lucky got an appropriate amount of tempering of, you know, like some people definitely were not loving it, and I think they were a little bit more at ease to be vocal about that than with any of the older Daft Punk stuff.
I think the whole Human After All album is just not as great. Definitely not as great as Discovery and like Random Access Memories.
I always saw the Human After All album as sort of like a toolkit album. Like, this is an album that when we do things with it live, we can mix it with a lot of other things. We can cut it apart easily. Like, it's like, here's like stuff we can use. And when we're doing it live, we're going to like really fuck around with everything in it. So it's sort of bare bones-ish. You know what I mean?
Hey, Isaac, got any more
It's like a
questions
DJ's
for Chris
album.
to answer for us?
Do I have any more? What? Yeah. What's the shittiest Daft Punk song, and why do you hate it?
Any more questions for Chris
Or
to
actually,
answer
I'm
for
sorry.
us?
It doesn't have to be Daft Punk.
Man, that was very funny. I'm extremely depressed right now. You guys are making me laugh. I appreciate that.
Oh, that's
on you, piece of shit.
I'm so glad you're here, buddy.
I will say, Human After All is probably best enjoyed in Alive 2007. That's where I probably enjoyed.
Yeah, that's
most.
exactly right. Yeah, when in the context of like the live performance stuff.
Yeah.
All right, Isaac, you have another question?
Well, you know, I didn't it didn't have to be Daft Punk for specifically, you know. But I just want to know if the Wiz has an overrated favorite act song he wants to throw out there too.
I'm gonna go pretty neutral on this. Every time I've like really gotten into an artist and then kind of gotten a sense for what was the most hyped one, I definitely like start out with a little resistance to it. But like every other time that I've done that, I've come back around to that and, you know, softened on it. So I don't really, you know, I can eventually I come around to whatever the hype that I dismissed at first was.
The hit.
So, yeah. I feel that. I mean, I have to recontextualize it, and then I can appreciate it again. I kind of have to rediscover it after my jaded, you know, interpretation of hype is worn off.
Dude, I'm honestly the same way. If something gets overhyped or over-recommended, I'm automatically like, I don't want to hear that.
Yeah, but then when
I'll
you
eat my
come around
words.
to it on your own, you know, has more value because it seems like you found it rather than someone else telling you it was the good one to listen to.
Yeah. I feel like I literally asked Randy this same question when we had him on the show. Did we get your response on that yet?
About Daft Punk specifically, or just
It doesn't have to be Daft Punk, man.
an
I know
artist.
you're a big fan of like Daft Punk, Kanye.
I know you're a big fan of Disclosure.
Whoa,
Is there
whoa,
an
whoa.
artist?
Disclosure.
Is there any song by Disclosure you think
yeah,
is
do you
overrated?
like Latch? Is it good?
Latch is a good song, but like it's so funny because that song is in 6/8. You know,
True.
it's the triplet.
That's the
burst
most
type.
funny of all time signals.
But what's funny is that like their whole set will like mix like together like just perfectly, and then at the end they have to like stop the whole thing and be like, and the
Right,
whole
they
crowd's
can't
like,
mix
"This is
into
the
the next
single,"
song.
and it's like it's so funny they can't mix their hottest song that's in a weird. fucking... I like that song. It's certainly their most poppy. I think every now and then they'll do like an album that is, they just released Energy like a year ago, and
Yeah, they did.
that album's really good, and they released like half of it as singles, and all those singles are like super housey and like really, you know, dope. But then this first half is all very poppy. They're not bad, but they're definitely more lyrical, more playable. You know, none of them are bad. I love all of them. You know.
Gotcha.
I'm trying to think of one that I like actively don't like. I don't think so. I think that artist I have saved.
That's
like,
a
almost
great
every
place to
single
be.
one of them. Like on Spotify, I have like every single one of them saved. With Daft Punk, I think a lot of their stuff from like Human After All or Homework that are just very. It is. I don't know. Some of those songs I think are a little rough. I don't know.
I feel
think
that.
they're definitely meant to be that way, but
Like
that is valid.
industrially or
Yeah.
like very gritty, and again less listenable. But you're right about Alive though, Disco. It's like those work very well in context.
Yeah, I wouldn't listen to them on their own as often as the other albums.
Oh wait, we're supposed to be funny, I think.
Hey, that's
no,
okay.
Too
I'm sure
serious,
Chris.
too serious.
I'm sure Chris is burning to ask you guys something.
You know, I kind of do want to know what's the songwriting process like for you guys. I asked this question
Ooh,
to
I really wanna know
some,
this
another
too.
group earlier, but like particularly for you guys, what is it like for you? Is it structured or is it only when you feel it?
First, I lay down the drum track, then I send it over to my guitarist, Discoholic, and then he writes the riffs, and then he sends it over to our vocalist, Wizard of Loneliness, and he writes the hook.
And it's all credited as
That's clean as fuck.
It's all credited as
Damn, Discoholic the ghostwriter.
Yeah.
He pulls the strings.
Yeah.
We
There's
just
actually-
we release under different.
We are
names
all just puppets in Discoholic's
Mm-hmm.
grand game.
Yeah.
Randy Blast released a splice pack, and it's all our songs, but he put his name over it.
Shit.
Yeah, someone can go for serious if they want.
Well, let's start with Disco. Yeah.
I think Disco probably writes the most traditionally out of all.
Yeah,
of
I'd be
us,
interested to know
because
what
he
your process is
composes
like.
more so.
I mean, it's traditional in the sense that I start with like just noodling chords on the piano. I don't like. There's like the traditional with like a dude with a quill and like in his like
Yeah,
basement.
you do that.
Yeah,
Right.
I like hand make the staff and everything.
With like an
and write
organ
down the
going
notes.
ah and stabbing on it.
But no, yeah, I start with the piano and then I kind of block down the chords and then everything comes after that. So like piano, bass line, melody, keys. I said keys again. Drums, stuff like that.
Idiot.
What an asshole.
So like if you do it out of order, do you like oh man, I did it wrong?
No, I mean actually,
That's for other people to tell him.
I would like to experiment with.
You did it wrong.
I would like to experiment with doing it in unique ways to see what happens. You know what I'm saying?
I feel that.
That's so brave.
Thank
I
you.
can't believe he finally said it. He's been waiting to tell us that.
Damn. You're a brave one.
I usually start with the Animal Crossing Town Tune editor.
Hey! Damn, I make mine in Mario Paint.
That's my whole app.
I think I usually start. A lot of my stuff's sampled and stuff, obviously. So I love to hear something in a song that catches my ear, and I'll just go through. And there's like certain tones, and you can see me do this when I stream it. But like, I'll pick those out, highlight them, move them to the front of the track, and then like start arranging stuff. And usually after that, I'll go for like the beat and like the vibe. And then we'll start adding layers and layers and layers. You know what I mean? And then what did you say? Noodle on the keys, and then I'll say keys twice.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just going to start by saying I noodle 3 times, and then that's the basis of any good song. I do a triple noodle.
Al dente.
Yes.
Bro.
Yes. I think the only thing that might be, mine's probably more similar to how Randy does it. I think the only thing I might do a little bit differently is I've been trying to take like a break halfway through once I have like the sample work done, and then I like kind of just test myself to think of songs that have a similar vocal hook, like a vocal hook that matches up with the melody.
Oh yeah, the king of that.
Yeah, so that's I love playing that like little trivia game with myself because I try to remember like
what would you mix
everything
like what songs would you mix into each other if you were DJing a party?
Yeah, so I treat it like, okay, I have a new thing that I've started using a sample, and now I want to like treat it as the music bed for something that, let's say, an artist would give an acapella or like a set of stems that way. So my job then is like, let me go through my musical memory and think what songs have vocal hooks that sound like that. So and then just doing a lot of like transposing in my head. So I'll like go find the song and then like, okay, well, it's not the same key, or you know, what if I turn it down a couple pitches to match that key?
You're doing a lot of the work in your head initially then.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm like, I'll listen on the acapella. I steal acapella.
Where do you get your
from
ideas?
YouTube. Ooh, I steal them. I steal those too. So I'll listen to the acapella track and then I'll like, pause it, sing it down a couple pitches, and be like, yeah, that does match. And then I'll commit to throwing it into the song.
That has happened many times on my like newer album. At this point, where like you can tell where like I just made a song and it's just like, oh, that probably fits here, and then I just do it. Yeah, and I'll just leave it there.
Randy, were you quoting Norm with that? Where do you get your ideas from?
I mean, Norm. I think Adam Egget delivers that line in his show.
On Norm's show,
yeah.
Where do you get your ideas?
Where do you get your ideas? Is the funniest question you can ever ask someone as an artist. Where do you get your ideas?
I'm sure everyone
got him under the Queensboro Bridge.
I asked Frank the same question about his tweeting process, and I guess I was like, I didn't get the final thought out, and I was just like, how do you come up with all those tweets, bro? You just thinking all the time? And then I rewatched it, and I was like,
genius.
Stupid as hell.
Tweeting is an art form. I take it seriously.
You guys
you're pretty.
Demos?
What, Disco?
Don't let him ask. I've previewed this question. It's not good.
Okay.
Anyway, I want to hear it now.
No, let it happen.
Let it out. It's hot takes.
Let him cook.
Boys.
Hold up, let him cook.
Wait, one of you guys wants to ask each other a question? I say let it rip.
I want to hear his question. Stop interrupting, Isaac.
Go get another drink, Isaac, please.
Oh my god.
What were you gonna ask before you were interrupted?
Anyways,
get another drink.
What was it?
You got this. Come on.
You guys record voice memos?
I have a
I
memo.
told you.
Not voice
I
memos.
told you that question.
It's not. What's that? How is that a weird one? I have a notepad on my phone. It's got all my song names and album names and everything.
I've actually tried to record voice memos if I have like a tune in my mind that I think might be good later, and it never translates. It never works out properly for me. I try to translate the music like, and I just listen to it hours later. I'm like, what is this battling?
Do you record it in the car? That's usually where my voice memos happen.
It does. I can't ever like.
Are you guys
sing
ever
a tune, it doesn't
driving
make
in
sense
your
anymore.
car?
You ever drive?
Driving in my you should record more voice memos where you imitate somebody else's voice, buddy.
Ah.
Oh yeah, those were fucking
10 out of
funny.
10. I recommend.
My name.
Oh yeah, those were great. I remember when Disco did that.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's still saved on my phone. It was so gold.
This is the first time I've talked to Disco in like a long time, dude.
He's been so busy.
I'm literally Fiver's actually at my place right now. We're working on.
Oh
our
shit!
Mac,
Fiber.
What are you working on?
We're working on our MacFest panel.
Oh, fun.
Mention me.
Sure.
There you go.
Do not listen.
Not in a good context.
Do not listen.
Yeah.
Don't.
Yeah, these are some artists to avoid in the scene. This guy will.
Oh my God! It's a trash talking panel the whole time.
This guy will make you question which words you think you're allowed to say.
Ooh,
If
it
I
sounds
hear
like
him
now
say
is an
it,
appropriate
I'm
time
gonna
to say
start
good night to the
questioning.
boys. But on the real,
Crew.
3D Blast, Discoholic, Wiz, thank you for
Thank you
joining
guys
us.
so much for being here.
We
I love
appreciate you guys
very
for
much.
being here.
Happy New Year.
Have a good night, guys.
All right,
Be well,
bye.
okay? And with that, we've got PJ Rourke in chat. PJ is deafened. And we will be joined very soon. We've got B Fant. Fiber, what's up, buddy?
Yo, how's
you
it
knew
going?
exactly when to jump in because we kicked Discoholic off.
Yeah.
Oh, it's because I'm with Disco right now, and he screamed from the other room, "Get in!"
Yeah,
So-
there you go.
Because I'm with Disco right now.
We got. Oh, PJ, you're echoing a little bit.
Yeah, if you have the stream open, just make sure you like turn it down.
Yeah, you might have to quit out of your Twitch,
Fiber,
buddy.
you've been doing a lot of live performances lately. Are you excited about that? You've got MagFest coming up. How do you feel about all the more recent live performances you've been doing?
You know, it's really interesting. It's been an incredible experience. It's the most shows I've ever done, like in my life. And you know, a lot of Montana people along for the ride, especially Disco. And it's interesting because like in a way I'm able to kind of like live out like some of the craziest dreams that I've had like for like the last, you know, like 15 years or so. But they're a bit different than what I thought. You know, there's like a lot of work that goes into like the prep for those. There's like a lot of like emphasis on like taking care of yourself, otherwise you can fall apart like pretty easily. The travel can be really exhausting. And I also had some weird misfortunes like in LA where like I got like all my shit stolen.
Of course, remember that.
That's terrible, buddy. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they broke into our car and like stole like
you telling me about this,
tons of jewelry, all my
Gross.
equipment, and I still recovered my set. So, fuck them. I hope
That's how
he's
you know
enjoying
you're a
it.
real one.
Yeah.
I have
Luckily, Sarah like took a photo of my set in the plane, and from that I was able to recover most of my
remember
cue
that.
points and all of my tracks. And I had my laptop backed up on iCloud, so I just ran to the Apple store and like got a new laptop the next day. Thank God I actually have a job now, because otherwise that wouldn't have been possible.
That's fucking unreal, man. That's how you know you're a real one. You can recover all your shit from a screenshot.
For sure.
Beef on PJ, how are you guys doing?
Yeah, sorry about that. I had Twitch and Discord open at the same time, so.
Oh, you're good, buddy. You didn't know.
I don't know how anything works.
You both sound great.
Okay, good.
Yeah, you got the Zweihander out there. Question for you guys. Starting with B, if I may ask. What is some of your favorite examples of really good album artwork?
I really enjoy album artwork that doesn't have to have like the name of the artist or the name of the album on it.
Okay.
So like Adam Heart Mother by Pink Floyd is like always the first example to come to my mind. Early Dust Dynamic Shroud stuff.
Right.
Stuff like that. Those are definitely my favorites. The Black Midi stuff, pretty great.
Do you say that because like you believe the artwork is so iconic that there's no need for the artist to be named? It's just instantly recognizable, or is there another reason?
That's the goal. I think that's the ultimate hope, is that you become one with it.
Right.
So.
Hell yeah, those are some great examples. PJ, do you have some examples of some artwork that you think is just phenomenal album artwork?
I completely agree with B. Like, I don't think the text should have to serve any purpose. Like, at that point, it's just really ancillary to, like, what should envelop you in, like, what is represented by the music. Like, you shouldn't need additional information in text form to tell you that. And yeah, I do think Black Midi's work is a really good example. Obviously, like Replica is one I always go to.
Yeah.
Yeah, just stuff like that. Just very strong image work that doesn't necessarily need the context of text to tell you like who this is by or what this album is. It should be represented visually, like what you're hearing.
So that's a really interesting point. Do you prefer or just generally, do you prefer that an album be text free, the cover not have any text on it?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
It's free real estate.
Yeah, I mean, unless there's very good text work, which is not common.
They can read the album on Spotify
like on the
or
spine,
anything else, or like on the spine or like on the ledger notes.
Good point.
There's many things to tell you, like what you're hearing. Like if you're already going into an album knowing who it's by, like you don't need the excess text.
What about like for singles? You kind of sometimes have to do it for a single. Feels like it's more appropriate for that.
Well,
or maybe not.
Here's I don't listen to singles. I listen to full albums because I'm a true patrician. So
here's what I'm thinking, right? Here's what I'm thinking. There's like so many electronic labels that like because of like the frequency of releases, they have almost this like template for like album covers and whatnot. You'll see this happen on like a lot of like different like electronic like record labels. I mean, I've seen like a lot of like big name releases with just kind of like this like specific font over a specific color palette. Spinning Records is like a really good example of like it was just that S for like God knows how long. I think they might just be doing the same thing. But yeah, I do prefer like album covers that don't have text. I guess I don't care if there is text on it if it complements it well. I think like some of like the new DDS stuff has like very, very cool like titling on it. But I think like great album covers, the first one I think of is like Porter Robinson's Nurture. Like it just encapsulates like the mood of that like so well. Bonito Generation by Cara Cara Bonito is another one. Let me think. I think those are like the two that I'm thinking about right now. Yeah.
Daft Punk, Discovery.
Well, yeah, but like a lot of the Daft Punk stuff then just goes right here. Your time is up.
Sorry.
You
fool.
would. Go get another drink.
Get another drink.
Go hydrate yourself, loser. All right. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, Daft Punk stuff, I mean, is like, I feel like, I don't know, like E-Man made that logo. It's just, it is a very memorable piece, but I think I do agree that like I prefer covers with like minimal text. So.
What are your thoughts on that, B? Text or no text?
Yeah, no, like I said, definitely, no text can be just as strong in conveying what you're listening to, especially if it garners, like a lot of attention. Like that becomes very synonymous with the music itself. Like you'll see sometimes people will be like, "Oh, I made like a minimalist version of this album cover." It's like I made it 8-bit. Like it's possible to convey that message, but like Fiber was saying, like a lot of the new DDS stuff where the art is synonymous with the text. Like,
yeah, for sure.
There are obvious exceptions to my rule, but
there's a lot of detail work around the text as well, though.
Exactly.
So I think that's what contributes to it.
Exactly.
There's definitely like a disparity between text that looks intentional and text that looks
slapped on,
like incidental.
I feel like a really great example of this, not to toot our own horn, but is Discoholics Anonymous. That was actually it was like
very good example.
So the font itself is not done in post. It's aligned a bit in post, but what we did is we printed giant sheets of A4 paper, like with like 1 or 2 letters, cut them out, and then filled them out with like marker.
Yeah,
and that's how we did the titling for Discoholics Anonymous. We had like 3 or 4 people helping with that.
I remember hearing the story of the setup of that shot, and I thought it was so cool too.
Oh, I scattered out like 120 classrooms, and it was during the weekend, so like the doors were locked. Yeah, the doors were locked at my school like during the weekends, so I had to find like doors that they had forgotten to unlock and give very specific directions on how to access different buildings from those unlocked doors, because we have like walkways that are like open between buildings and stuff, and that's how we got to the classroom.
Oh, that's too perfect.
Yeah.
Chris, have you got any questions for the folks in the group right now?
Yeah. Well, first for the two artists, the two visual artists, when you sit down and do your work, do you start with a feeling, or you start with a discipline? Like, this is the time I do it, and this is when I'm going to do it, because you both do a lot of output.
Maybe not as much this year.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm definitely not that disciplined. I think lately it comes a lot more from a feeling and an inspiration, and particularly lately, like I've kind of been in a very like insulated loop where I'm not doing as much commission work and mostly working on my own projects. So it's really just like finding the time and energy to contribute to that. I think like with commission work, it's much different. That I do try to dedicate time to. So it's really just whatever I'm working on at the time. But no, I would say most of the time it doesn't come from discipline. It more comes from just situational energy.
That makes sense.
Very cool.
Bfont, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat now. It used to be disciplinary across the board, up until maybe like 4 or 5 months ago, where my day job just got unbearable. So I'm at the point where I've stepped away from commission work for a little bit this year, hoping to get back into that later on, but I'm trying to step away and do some more like self-authored work, trying to create little isolated universes and making things out of that and hoping people are interested in it. Just trying to figure out why I'm still feeling the need to do all of this in general.
Interesting.
Yeah.
No, 100%. Like,
all right, Fiber, question for you. You are now working, you are running the label, you are making music, you're playing a lot of shows. How have you been balancing all this? Have you found it difficult, or do you think you've figured out a rhythm, or is it it's always a process?
Ooh, I don't know. It's weird. Half of me thinks it's like still a process. Like it's almost like I have to find time for all these things. I will say that in terms of like my inspiration, it ties into what the other two said. I tend to get more inspired when I like actually just like make music. Because if I am trying to do something, not necessarily just making music, but doing random sound design or just screwing around and whatnot, I have more exposure to it, and I feel like the inspiration comes to me quicker. When I'm not engaging in those sorts of things, it can be like really difficult to come up with any ideas. So I try to do them consistently. But in terms of, now I'm working a job, I'm very lucky to have a job that I think is extremely flexible towards my needs. And so that's something that I'm very lucky to have, and I understand a lot of people don't have. Being in mind, it's still like a 40-hour-a-week job. So what I actually did was I had to give up some stuff, to be honest with you, for the first time ever. And that thing for me was audio engineering. I thought about it, and I thought about how, okay, why was I doing this in the first place? And partially the reason why I was doing it was not because I didn't enjoy helping out other people with their releases, but because after doing it for so many years and also it taking up so much of my time, I also realized that I was doing it because I needed it as a form of secondary income to help the record label out. Now I have my own job, and like the record label is doing better. So it's almost like, well, I want to work on my third EP. Like, I mean, I can't do all of this all at the same time. So
yeah,
I made a decision to pretty much just cut it mostly out of my life. I still do it for friends every once in a while, and I'm still doing some for Montem. But a lot of this is like, a lot of what I'm trying to do for 2023 is I'm trying to focus on the things that like genuinely make me like happy. And, some of that means like, we are scaling up to the point where it's like I have to offload some of the work off of myself. And we've actually hired like 2 audio engineers for Montem.
Oh, wow.
We're now working with a lacquer cutting engineer that's like cut records for like Lana Del Rey and Ozzy Osbourne.
Ooh.
Very, very cool guy that but we're trying to do that more, and we're trying to offload some of like the contract that we're signing to like other people, some of the clerical stuff, some of like the handling of like our finances and whatnot, like keeping track of all that stuff. Like we're trying to find other people to help us with this, because if we want to do all this, and I also want to make music, and we also want to do like more shows, like it's just gonna be impossible. Like I've had to just deal with the fact that, you know, like, yeah, I'm doing an insane amount, but like I'm also human. And like,
yeah,
I have a limit, and I have to admit that to myself. So that has been refreshing, because now I'm allowing myself to relax and do more things that I otherwise couldn't do when I was in college. So I feel like I'm happy overall.
Good. That's great.
Guys, we've got to say goodnight to you guys. As badly as I hate this part of the interview, I want to thank the
finally. No, I'm just kidding. Love you, man. Thank you so much.
You guys
Good night, Fiber. B, PJ, thank you so much for being here. Y'all both have a lovely night, okay?
Likewise.
All right, catch y'all later. Thank you for having us. Bye-bye.
Absolutely. Be safe. Hey, it's Porter Vaughn in the chat.
What's up, Porter?
So glad that you made it.
Gang.
We didn't think we were going to be able to get you on tonight, but I'm so glad that you came through. We've got Pacific Plaza in the chat. Discoholic trying to get back in the chat.
Fuck you, Disco. Fuck you, Disco.
Let him in. Let him in.
No. Fuck that guy.
I would like to pose a question to y'all, starting with Indie. Two of you guys are record label, or run record labels of sorts, or at least curate quite a bit, at least in your local scene. And one of you is very much a well-known man of the people, you could say.
Yeah.
So I want to know, starting with Indie Advent,
I hope that's me.
Is there an underrated act that you can think of in the scene that you'd like to shout out and put us on, Indie?
Oh my God, there's so many.
Indy knows all the real ones.
Underrated. You know, is it offensive? What if they're not actually underrated?
I mean,
say,
somebody that we need to be put on.
That you haven't had on the show. First off,
Okay,
I just
there you
want to
go.
talk. I don't know if they're underrated, but I would just want to give a shout out to Enrail.
Yes,
absolutely,
100%. I backed that
Straight up.
1,000 times.
Straight up. You know, I was a big fan in the beginning. Groovy Kaiju actually got me hooked when he came up to Toronto a few years back, and
shout out.
You know, I haven't looked back. Shout out to Virtua94 for putting out that vinyl. Check out the Space World. It's on their Bandcamp, available now. I really look forward to the future of Unrail. I'll pass it over to Alex and Porter.
Yeah, let's go, Alex. What do you think?
From there.
Yeah, well, I'll definitely second Unrail. I mean, I've seen Nathan play live many times and had him on a bunch of shows, and did a little road trip in the beginning of last year with him and Earthboy up to Teach Hill, NorCal back when it was in Davis. So, yeah, definitely. So is it the same question for me? Underrated
yeah, man.
in general?
Shout out an underrated act that you want to put us on.
Underrated act I want to put people on. Well, I'm just going to pick some for my label then. Because we put out a really awesome album this year by this artist called Goame, who's like been in the scene for years, like pretty low key. It's spelled Goamae. And every release they do, it's just fantastic. They do plunderphonic stuff, but it's very dream punky. It really like sits right in between classic vaporwave and dream punk. And I think it's like a duo of people. I don't really know their whole deep backstory. Funny enough, like a Utopia District person was gonna like interview them, and then they were very hard to get in contact with, I guess. And
really,
I don't know. I've done 2 albums with this artist, and Planet Mansion and Shadow Domain are just both great. And so they are actually, I would say, actually underrated. Like no one talks about them, but they've been around. They've had releases on a couple different labels, including like Gulf Audio, and like DMT and stuff like that. So I'll go with that one.
That is a great pick because yeah, I've not heard either one of those albums. If you want to drop them in the chat at some point, that would be super helpful. So some of us can
definitely put both of those
listen
in there.
to and possibly buy one of those releases. Who do you want to shout out, Porter? Who's somebody that you think is underrated that needs that shout out?
Can I shout out 2 people?
Yes, of course you can. Please.
Okay, so I want to shout out 2 people who I think are like, in my mind, they're vapor adjacent.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure like how they consider their own music to be related to vaporwave, but I know that they're definitely adjacent, at least in terms of like social media and kind of the circle they're in. I want to shout out No X Beats and Sky Yamaha.
Oh yeah, Sky Yamaha is cool as shit.
Sky is super awesome.
Yeah, we were both at that Sky show.
Super underrated, and like the vibe they capture is amazing. I've actually heard them speak a little bit. Really, really cool person.
Very cool. And she plays the flute live during some of her songs.
That was so dope.
Which
oh
is
my god.
dope.
I was
Yeah.
overjoyed to get to see that. I feel bad. I've
that
wanted
word
to
to
do something
describe.
with that artist for so long.
Yeah, you want to know something
choice.
cool? So a year ago, and actually, or last year in February, so February 2022, I was on Hot Takes during this, but I went to vacation in the Bahamas for a month. You remember that?
Totally remember this. Yeah.
Yeah, that was actually, I think maybe that was the last time I was on this show, was on Hot Takes.
Yeah, buddy.
But I was listening to a ton of Sky Yamaha, and like I was playing it, downloading it. And I remember she was like, I told her I was listening to her, and she was like, yeah, I was wondering who my random listener in the Bahamas was. I was like, yeah, that was me.
Oh my god, that's good.
So glad you broke your social media hiatus to be with us tonight.
Yes.
So for people who know me, yeah, it's definitely been a hiatus. I will be the first to admit that I am like super unavailable these days, I guess. It's the best word to say.
I would say exclusive.
Mostly that's just a lifestyle thing right now with work and commuting. I generally have like 1 or 2 hours of free time to myself. At least until I move out, which is like hopefully a next few months kind of thing. And then time frees up. For anyone who does know what I do, I am always still working on music. It's just my workflow has changed these days, and instead of being that person who starts a million things I can't finish, the last couple of years I've kind of narrowed myself down to like 8 to 10 songs that I'm super invested in.
Wow.
And even though it's taken me a few years, you know, it's like, you know, there might be a month where, you know, I just work on one song that month in my free time. And then sometimes I have those sporadic moments where I'm like, yeah, let's spend, you know, 48 hours making music nonstop. That comes and goes. But definitely I can tell you that I have every intention of putting out music again, of continuing the Porter Vaughn thing again. I don't even want to say continuing. It's more like, for me, starting fresh.
Yeah.
And doing something a lot bigger. And like I said, for a couple of years now, I've just been kind of working on the same 8 to 10 songs. And my philosophy for the next thing I release is bangers all the way down.
Yeah, buddy. Chris, you got some questions for the label owners in the chat?
I do, actually. So my big question is really kind of a general one, but what does the vaporwave scene mean to you guys? Like, when you think of it, what do you think of?
Ooh, that's interesting.
Because you guys have such
let's
like
hear
a big
from Indy
presence.
first.
Just say who wants to go first.
Is it cool if
so
we hear
much
from
within
Indy
it,
first and then Pacific Plaza? Let's do that.
Yeah, for sure.
Take it away, Andy.
So I don't know. It's a great question. I don't want to take too much time answering like the whole scope of what it is, but I'll narrow it down onto one portion of it. You know, the whole consumerist thing versus the whole punk approach. There's kind of two very different ways to look at it, and I just think we could see more of the pushing of the profoundness of the sound and the concepts to be kind of more in line with that punk or political approach. Like, there's so much things wrong with the world right now, all this social media, Twitter, war, corruption kind of going on. I just think it's a perfect time for it, and I really like that about some vaporwave from the past. And I'll just say that, you know, part of it is trying to figure out where the balance is between that corporate consumption, but also the direction. You know, we kind of slide right in between depending on what we're listening to, right? So it means the world to me, and it's super unique, and I think we're really lucky to be able to share this vague understanding of it and trying to understand, like, always pushing what the definition is. Yeah, I just think
I love that.
You know, we're so lucky to be able to share this secret together.
Nice.
Super well said.
Yeah, there's like something special about vaporwave where it's built its own like micro, maybe not even micro, but like, you know, serious like internal economy. And that's the same thing like punk and a lot of alternative social movements have always done, whether that was like people organizing in cities to like feed each other, or people like punk bands buying each other's records and pressing each other's records, which is the same thing the vaporwave people, you know, we all do now. We buy each other's records, we press each other's records, we help each other get stuff done. We try to keep things within, you know, the community to lift everyone up. And it's kind of like there's an attitude in this scene of like, a rising tide will lift all boats, and that's like the thing I enjoy most about it. What keeps me around is like it's like a truly like grassroots involved scene, and that's kind of what I did when I was working in other genres back in the day when I was like playing in different types of bands or friends with different types of people. And that's one of the things that like always like struck me about vaporwave when I got deeper into it back in 2016 into 17 was that there is this like grassroots and accessibility to it. You just gotta like get a DAW and start messing around with stuff. It's like punk where you just need 3 chords and the truth.
3 chords and the truth.
Yeah, I love it. The truth.
I love the constant comparison to the punk rock scene because it is there. The ethos is absolutely there. And
I like what Alex and I come from the punk scene too.
Absolutely.
So I don't know if that's part of it.
Sure.
Yeah, there's so many people in the vaporwave scene and internet music scene who like were involved in like real life, scenes that were alternative. And even like I love listening to like hear Scott Michael from Atlantis talk about the Johnstown, Pennsylvania music scene. Blows my mind.
Okay.
Talking about the Johnstown, Pennsylvania music scene in the like first Obama presidency. That's crazy to think about. But that's part of the genesis of vaporwave. Him being part of that and doing his like in-person audio experiments and recording those and putting them on the Atlantis Bandcamp next to St. Pepsi and next to Lux and next to Skelly.
That's what I'm saying, man. We need more. Like that was profound, right?
That's like the history stuff I hope the documentary gets into, but even if it doesn't, like there's been a lot of podcasts people have done over the years which I really hope get archived, that you could hear those things where people talk about it when they do the long form interviews that like especially Indie used to do, which reveal just so much interesting information in like the basically pre-Econ 1 and 2 era. Indie just like blew open the lid on like the backgrounds of so many interesting people in the scene.
Man,
that's actually true. I was one of those interviews.
Thanks,
and the interesting thing about the interview that Indy did with me at that time was no one really knew anything about me. And so no one knew what to expect from that interview. But when I sat down with Indy, that was like a good couple hours where we just like cracked it open and got right into it,
Yeah.
That's putting people on. That's growing their scene.
Yeah, and you need that, like I don't know who I was talking to recently, but like there's like these waves of different people who are like writing or intensely covering the scene. And one of my hot takes, I guess, would be that we don't have a strong center for that right now.
Yeah.
No offense to Utopia District or anyone who's trying to do that, the Arcology and stuff. But that usually just naturally happens. It's hard to force that. Like Private Suite, like didn't just become like a big entity because it existed. Sunbleached, if anyone remembers Sunbleached, when that was around, Tiny Mixtapes, having a bunch of vaporwave writers didn't just happen, like it wasn't forced. Tiny Mixtapes was actually just the only place covering it, and so people gravitated there who wanted to write about it, included Keith Rankin, which we found out on Hot Takes. So now you guys are sort of doing that work, but you guys don't do super in-depth long form because you're doing community participation, which is great, and I love it too, but it's also why I don't consider you a podcast. On another hot take topic.
I remember that hot take.
That's very interesting. You're right.
Yeah.
Well, fellas, we got a couple minutes left. Are there any questions you guys have ever wanted to ask each other?
You know what's funny? I thought of one yesterday for Alex, and I didn't write it down. So someone else maybe go first. It might come back to me.
I didn't even think about this.
Yeah, sorry. I'm really good at those.
Oh, I got one.
Stumpers.
Okay. I got a second one.
Let's hear it from you.
Okay.
Okay, so you've been getting a lot into analog video, Alex?
Yeah.
So I'm curious, as a video thinker, creator, what are your recommendations for cataloging and finding the right footage and organizing what you've used and how you're going to use it, all that kind of thing?
So interesting. I don't really catalog much. What I've kind of enjoyed about video is that I'm not looking for a specific thing. I have a bunch of VHS tapes, and the tapes I have is the stuff I use. I very rarely go rip things off of YouTube or burn things to DVDs, which is the easiest way for me to get digital stuff into my setup, is to literally burn it to a DVD. So for me, it's really based on what I have in my VHS box that sits under my table of video gear. But when it comes to the label, I literally just rip so many different things off of YouTube and just put in search terms and try and find interesting videos that will work for advertising stuff and making clips for social media. And that's where I focus a lot of video stuff now. It's just editing and making stuff to promote things on the label and help explain the releases and music that we're putting out, It's the Auto release we're about to do on Friday. I'm going to give that a plug before
shout
I
out.
have to get off here. New album from Auto on Friday. I was I need to look up transportation clips and more retro feeling transportation clips, because the album's about going to different places and different places around the world that Otto found out he had listeners in. And that's what inspired the song titles and concept, was Bandcamp data, essentially. Which is a shame Bandcamp Daily literally said no to us when we submitted the album. But that's a whole other thing. So,
guys, this is my least favorite part of our interaction, but we have to say goodbye to Indy, Porter, and Pacific Plaza. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, y'all.
And
we
love you
guys.
No, it was a great pleasure being on, and I just want to say, to kind of segue into the next part of the night, Fire Tools and Golden Living Room are two of my favorites. Two people who, I'm not going to pretend I know them better than I do, but as far as artists and musically, they just put so much of themselves into their music, and they make something amazing that for me, I guess is vapor adjacent, and they may feel how they feel about that, but they're amazing. Love them. Have a great night. Thanks for having me on.
Good night, y'all, and welcome, Angel and Golden Living Room just disappeared. Hopefully they'll be back. And Syllabus, welcome back, y'all.
Hey.
We're so glad to have y'all back on the show.
Yes,
I want to just jump right into it. Angel, you have a lot of different aliases and a lot of different projects, but there have undoubtedly been most popular tracks of yours, hits as it were. Can you tell us the story behind creating maybe one of your more well-known tracks of your choice?
The well-known ones are usually they end up being my least favorite.
Aw.
I mean,
funny how that goes.
It's not a surprise though, because I feel like most pop artists are probably that way, because a lot of people only ever hear your most popular songs, and then you end up kind of feeling you wish they understood you more. You wish they listened to the deep cuts so they really knew who you were. So I have to go through that. But one of the most popular tracks is a song called Thick, Flowy, Glowy, Sparkly, Stingy Pain.mpeg. It's kind of I kind of made it to try to sound like Deftones for half of it, and then the second half is just kind of twinkly guitar and keyboard stuff. And that's cool. That's one that gets some of the most plays on Spotify and YouTube and stuff. And I do really like it. It's just listen to my weird stuff if you really want to know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And what I'm after, I guess. But that's cool. Every artist has to deal with that, and I think my goal is to just make sure the singles that I push are ones that have a lot to offer and are a good summary of what I'm trying to do.
Right. I mean, it may be the first thing some listeners ever hear, right?
Yeah, the first thing,
for better
and
or for
sometimes sometimes the only thing, or at least like one of the 5 songs. You know, the world is it seems to be getting more into songs and singles and not so much albums. And I make albums. That's like my thing. I love albums. It's like if you remove one song, it's not what you're missing something really significant. So the whole singles thing is like kind of hard for me to deal with. Like when the label's like, well, which songs do you want to be the singles? And it's like impossible to choose, because if I choose one, that means the other ones aren't singles, and then it just feels like really incomplete.
Really well said. Joel, Golden Living Room, tell us the story behind your most well-known track.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound great, buddy. Thanks for being here.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for having me. Well, according to Spotify, my most well-known track is something called Interdimensional Chocobo from my album.
Nice.
Which is literally just a slowed down version of the Chocobo theme from Final Fantasy XI. And I mean, yeah, I do like some like counter melodies and a little bit of like improv on there, and I don't even know why this song is popular. It's not even good, but I think it got
But
chosen.
it's Final
like,
Fantasy. That's probably that might be why.
It's got a good groove. So when I slowed it down, it creates this real nice kind of like groove to it.
Okay.
Like anyone that's ever played Final Fantasy XI and struggled through that game, they would know, like, you're on the Chocobo and you're like, I'm finally not moving like incredibly slow, because it's running just on foot in that game is just so painful. Anyway, so yeah, I created this song, and it was like at a time when I realized that I wasn't going to be able to stay up late and work on music anymore. So I started waking up at like 5 a.m. before work, and I was like the most productive working at that early in the morning. And I remember like working on, and I had like really horrible latency problems, and I was using this old ass PC, and I would have to like anticipate and play the notes sooner in order for it to sync up, and I didn't know how to. I didn't know how to like quantize back then. It was so if you listen to like the solo in Interdimensional Chocobo, you'll hear that the solo is like a tiny little bit off at the very end there. But yeah, that's one of my according to Spotify, that's my most popular song. But yeah, and then there's a remix that I did with Luxury Elite for Signal that I did. What is it, from World Class, I think?
Fire.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Anyway, that one is one of my favorites of all time. And honestly, one of the remixes that I did for Fire Tools is one of my favorites of all time also. I just like somehow these end up turning into some of the best that I've done. But yeah, that Signal track, if you ever hear my remix of that, it's probably one of my like most prized recordings that I've ever made.
Hell yeah. Syllabus. I don't know if you're tuned in, but we just played Days Gone By from the Music of the Now Age 4 on live, which has got to be one of my favorite things you've ever made, by the way.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, it's fucking it might be one of my favorite tracks on the entire comp. But anyways, why don't you tell us the story of your most popular track?
I have like 2.
Please. Tell us both.
I mean, okay, so there's Condominium Living, which
I love that song. I love that one
some
too.
of you might remember from 2014. That was back in the good old days of slowing down a song and then putting a 4/4 kick on it. I don't know, it just blew up somehow on, I think, like SoundCloud and YouTube. I think there was like an artsy music upload.
Nice.
And for a while, I guess mostly this year, I was hating on it quite a lot. But I don't know. Upon re-listening, it's like, yeah, it's a very simple track. There's really not much, chopping or like, I don't know. There's not a ton of, I guess, if you compare it with my most recent track on Music of the Now Age, there's not a lot there, I guess. But I guess the simplicity and bounciness of it connects with people in a way that I didn't expect and didn't really understand until recently, I suppose. And then the other one is Temple Stage 01, which was in that Vaporwave songs and their original samples video, which I think I talked about a little last time here.
You did, yeah.
Nice.
And that one is like baffling to me, I guess, that people like there's a very polarizing reaction to it. I've found. So I don't know. It's like at some point. Sorry, am I peeking a lot?
A little bit, but it's okay. I've
Oh,
got
God.
you attenuated. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's like, you do, something you make, a bunch of people, like, I guess it finds its audience, and, for a while it, like, I felt a little bit resentful over it because, as Angel was saying, it's like, take a look at my weirder stuff.
Yeah, right.
Take a look at the stuff that is, I guess, in my case, far more personal to me. But I don't know if I make something and it connects with a lot of people more than just myself, then that's really cool. Yeah.
Have you noticed a pattern? Like, we both just talked about our hit songs being ones that, we wish they were other ones, and Joel even said that about his most well-known song. I don't know if you've been asking the other people the same question, but I'm curious to know, like, how many of us feel that way.
That would be a wonderful thing to hear from everybody at some point.
Yeah, we actually know you are all the only people we've asked this question to.
And I can see you have a question on your mind, buddy.
Oh, me? Yeah, I mean, actually, first of all, I can say that one of my more well-known songs is Real Time Lover, and I'm very pleased that that's one of the more listened to songs that I have, actually. And I honestly was, like, concerned about releasing it because when I finally released it, I didn't want people to really hear it. So I actually remember thinking, I'm only going to release this when I feel like more people will hear it, and it worked out that way. So that worked out for me.
Like when you had a bigger audience?
I don't know. Just when the energy felt it was going to be appropriate, it worked. Cool. And it worked the first time I released it. Back when I first released it, it did pretty well on SoundCloud and such. And then when I released it finally onto Spotify, and I held off a long time putting it on Spotify, I held off like 2 years. I finally put it on Spotify, and it got picked up by the Vaporwave playlist. So,
well, I admire your patience.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Let me ask you.
When I'm finished with something, I just I have to get it out right away, or I go crazy. So it's really hard for me to wait for albums to get released. Like waiting for vinyl to get made.
Yeah,
it's torture.
Angel, there's a song that you mastered for me that I brought to you several months ago, and
you haven't released that yet?
Because I'm waiting for the right energy. It's the same thing with
God. That. Hurry up.
It even got to the point where you actually messaged me like, did I do this for you? I'm like, you did. Thank you.
Yeah.
No,
I love that.
I'm waiting, and that's a very personal song for me, and it's for a person that that's very personal, and I'm waiting for the right time. So, but let me ask my question because I don't want to run out of time. You have all mentioned that you wish people would listen to something else aside from the biggest. I mean, you're very pleased that they listen to the popular song by you all. But what is the song that you wish people would listen to? You want people to hear it.
Well, I guess since I spoke first, maybe we can go.
Yeah, let's
in
hear
order.
from you, and then Golden Living Room.
Yeah. So I wouldn't say it's a song, but I think it's like a section of an album on my Skinless X1 album, from track 5 to 8 or 9, or no, track 5 to 10 actually. I think it's this whole section of instrumentals and experimental stuff, and then there's one sample based song, and it's I put a bunch of songs with vocals, the more catchy ones at the beginning, and then a couple at the end, but there's this whole stretch that I feel I don't know. I feel like a lot of people just think that stuff is filler. They want to get to the part with the 4/4 beat and the screaming vocals and stuff like that. And it's just oh, this is just an intro. This is just an interlude. And that stuff is just as important to me So I don't want people to like listen to anything that they don't resonate with. So on the other hand, I'm just like, please just like what you like. But you know, I guess I kind of wish that that stuff wasn't like skipped over as much. You know?
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. I think people need to hear that. Joel, what about you?
I released an album in 2017 called Autoscopy. Yeah, I don't even know if I'm saying that right. Anyway,
autoscopy.
No, autoscopy. I don't know. Is it autoscopy?
I don't know. I released an album from an artist a long time ago, and that was the name of the album. And I always said autoscopy, but I don't know. I never talked to the guy IRL. So
isn't that funny how that? Yeah. Anyway, so yeah. So like Angel said, from like the last half. Okay, so it started out as like unreleased songs or songs that were on concept that like weren't like very popular or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first half was like that, and then from like track 8 to 14 was all brand new music that had never been released before. But I didn't do any promo for this album.
Mm-hmm.
I tried like the just drop it and see what happens, and this album totally kind of like flopped. And so the last like 4 or 5 tracks on that album are so like it was an evolutionary time between my old style to my new style.
Yeah.
And yeah, so, and then there's also the whole entire This Is Where I Am Right Now album that I feel like is some of my best that I wish people would listen more of.
Okay.
Let's get a really quick response from Syllabus before we have to say goodnight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I've rehearsed this in my head really quickly. So for me, it's less of a matter of people like listening to like specific songs that I would want them to listen to, but I would rather people, you know, really listen to anything else that I've produced and give me feedback. Like, because I feel like a lot of the time I don't get much feedback aside from, oh, I like this. Oh, the vibes are good. And you know, it would be really nice to like just hear, you know, why people connected with something or why people really liked it, or you know what didn't work for them. Because I feel like I don't get a lot of that. Anyway, thanks for having us all
Syllabus,
on.
Golden Living Room, Angel, thank you so much for being here tonight. We love y'all and hope you have an amazing 2023.
Thank you.
Yeah, you too. Thank you.
Good night, guys. Let's say hello to our synth pop trio. We got Dreaming Diary, formerly known as Digital Sex. We got Drink Your Tears, and we got Fashionista Boyfriend back on the show.
Wow.
Welcome back, y'all. Thank you so much for being here.
What up?
What up, Isaac and Chris? How you guys doing?
Good to hear from you all.
I need to turn you up is what I need to do.
Starting I'm hanging in there.
Is that better?
I got it. Don't worry about it, buddy.
All right.
And Chris, if you need to take a pee break, you're
really
welcome.
quick.
Go right ahead.
Thank you.
Starting with Dreaming Diary. Again, I know you as Digital Sex, but you've taken a huge different direction with Dreaming Diary. I want to know what is like something that you used to be into. It could be a genre, it could be an album, it could be an act. What is something you used to be into that you're just not into anymore? And tell me why that is. I'm going to ask y'all all this, so be ready.
So in high school, I would just browse like chiptune labels, like Big Tune, Calm Down Kidder, Pause, like all these labels, and I would just burn them on like CDs, and that's all I listened to in high school was like chiptune, Anamanaguchi, Alex Mauer, like all these old school musicians through these like obscure labels, and I don't know what happened. I just kind of fell out of it.
Yeah,
but that was like my first like real like love for like a specific genre. Was
I feel like chiptune gets people, especially young people. It's like really easy to get into, probably, especially if you're a fan of video games.
No, yeah, for sure. It's super like sugary and kind of like cutesy, and I started getting into like trackers and shit, and it's just the sound activates something in my my primal brain for some reason. I just like love like a square wave and like a sawtooth, like all these like simple sounds, and these like fucking bleep loops I'm really like into. But cool. Over time, I just I think I eventually just found vaporwave and shoegaze and like all these other, you know, dream pop, all these other genres, and I was like, oh, like let me expand upon that. But I still have a folio of like all these burned CDs somewhere that I gotta dig out. But yeah, chiptune was like my first love.
I remember chatting with you about the Depreciation Guild. I think we talked about that on your episode.
It's still like a Spirit Youth is still like my favorite album.
top 10.
Fucking fire. Did you ever get into
such
the
a good album.
anniversary? Do you remember the anniversary?
I remember the anniversary.
The anniversary, no. Is it what's it called?
Yeah, but they're
It
more
wasn't
like
chiptune.
They're not chiptune. They're
Yeah,
like
it
more
wasn't
like
chiptune for
they're,
sure.
they're more like second wave emo stuff. They were
Yeah,
like,
but they had like
they were on like
chiptune
drive.
synths.
They were on like Vagrant Records with like the Get Up Kids and stuff like that. I love the album Designing a Nervous Breakdown, but we're not here to talk to you.
No, yeah,
Right,
let me check that out. Yeah,
Drink your tears. Let's hear an example of something you used to be into and that you're not into, and why are you not into it anymore?
All right. I guess I would have to say like dubstep, because I was into it for such a long time, from like 2010 till probably 2014, which isn't really that long, but I was still in high school in 2010, so it's like it was a long while for me. But it's not that I'm not a fan of it. Like when I hear it now, I'm like, oh fuck, why am I not listening to this? So,
Right.
but I just kind of like slipped out of it for a minute, because like I'll be honest, right around like 2014, I kind of like discovered vaporwave, and I was like, oh no, this is what I'm looking for. So
yeah, same.
I found it.
to
Okay.
a bunch of festivals when I was like 16, 17, still in high school, and then I did that all the way till I was like 19 years old, and I was like, all right, I'm
You just kind
moving
of burnt out on it.
Yeah, for sure.
It'd be like that.
That's fair.
Yeah, dubstep is still fucking awesome though. Like I love it, rhythm, all that shit. So,
A rhythm, okay.
I was just
Fashionista
gonna-
boyfriend. Let's hear your what you used to be into that you have since abandoned, and why.
So I kind of wanted to add on to the whole chiptune thing. That was a really big part of like my startup as a musician.
really?
I actually have 2 like chiptune albums that I did. I didn't put them on
Yeah, you
Spotify, but
Oh,
they're
please
on
send
like
that
my
to me.
SoundCloud.
What I've heard is really good.
Definitely will.
Please.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I have this song called Paradise, which is like a huge like sonic kind of influence thing with that like FM bass line, stuff like that. Super funky. But yeah, that's kind of something I used to listen to a lot, like Gucci, all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So that was one, and then like screamo music was a big part of my childhood,
Okay,
and I
yeah.
just kind of gave up on that. You know, it's like
Were
hearing
you-
it now, I'm like, oh man.
Were you
I don't
more to
know.
like the scram stuff, or more kind of like the Under Oath type? Like
Under
cleaner,
Oath for
newer?
sure, and like
I mean,
Devil
I was
Wears
into
Prada,
Under Oath.
that kind
Fuck
of
it.
stuff. I'm actually
I
still
fuck with
kind of
Under
into
Oath.
Under Oath. Yeah. But yeah, most of that stuff I'm kind of throwing away.
I got you. Skelly, you want to jump in with something good?
Yeah. So, let me ask you guys: is there any particular albums currently that you are listening to quite often and are feeling pretty inspired by every time you hear them?
Ooh.
Particularly for you guys who are composing a lot of your own music. Is there anything right now?
So for me, Brother Tiger's new album just came out.
Yeah.
How'd your show go, by the way?
Yeah,
oh,
please
it
let
was
us know.
so tight, dude. It was
Again,
so
Brother
much
Tiger,
fun,
yeah.
man.
So
Yeah,
glad
I
we
got
get
a
to follow up on that.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
So happy.
man.
I'm so happy to hear that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I got to meet up with John after the show, and we talked a little bit. And
Awesome.
yeah, next time I'm on the East Coast, I'll definitely hit him up and do a tour or something. That'd be cool.
That would be awesome.
Great show and great record. This is a great album overall.
Digital Sex and Drink Your Tears. What about you? What about you two?
I haven't been. I mean, I've listened to shit every day, but like, this isn't a new band by any means. But I always
Right.
find myself like going back to New Shoes. I don't know if you guys know.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember
New
Shoes.
Shoes.
Yeah,
Wow,
Heck
so
I haven't
good.
thought about them in a long time.
Oh man, they're so
Wow.
tight.
Yeah,
Wow.
I have their album "Told You So" on vinyl, but I've been listening to Poolside more, and I'm just like, oh.
Hell yeah.
No,
Well,
yeah, I love
Digital
them.
Sex, Dreaming Diary.
Talking like recently, that new Always record was pretty great. The Blue Rev. If any of y'all heard that
I
yet,
have
it's
not.
I haven't heard it yet. No.
it's
Can you
'cause
describe it?
It moves away from their traditional synth pop roots to more like shoegaze synth pop in a way.
Yeah.
It's very 80s in like
Sounds
the best
fun.
possible way. One of the songs even ends with like doing like a callback to that "Take on Me," like the high pitch note at the end. Like it's thoroughly 80s and like really fun and just like
Damn, you got to
catchy as
drop a
hell.
link to that in chat. That sounds really
Yes, I feel like hopefully some people have listened to it. I love that album. But I just love like how dense the sound is. Like it's very layered, and it's like guitars and synths and all these like her vocals like kind of like blend into the mix really well, and it kind of becomes this like cacophony of like sound, and it's really pretty.
Interesting.
Is there any shoegaze influence to it, or maybe a little dream pop?
Oh,
maybe?
totally. When I was like, oh, this sounds like shoegaze, and then I checked their
Got my
live
attention.
performances, and they're playing with like the Jazzmaster shoegaze guitar. They're doing like the thing with the tremolo bar where it's like you strum and you like bend the notes, and I'm like,
That
this
shit
is
is so
literally,
cool to me.
this is literally just shoegaze. Like they're literally just making shoegaze, but it's I don't know. I've never really heard that blend of like synths with that kind of sound before, and it's electric. It's really beautiful.
I think one of my favorite artists that kind of blends that vibe is Secret Attraction.
Yes, that's that was one of my earliest influences. Was
Really?
was
Thanks for the link,
was it,
by the way.
Was it Blush? It was that all
think
pink
so.
cover.
Yeah, Blush. Yeah.
Yeah, like Call Me Up and like all these like tracks that were like really like hypnagogic and beautiful were really inspired me to really like to change up my deal and really do more synth poppy hypnagogic pop.
You listen to Hawaii 94 stuff at all?
A little bit.
That's
I love
another good
surfing.
example. Nice.
Yeah.
I've someone compared me to them before, and I haven't really checked them out
Hawaii
too
94 is
much.
great. Yeah, it's Lee's
but-
solo stuff. It's phenomenal.
This is
No,
a
yeah,
hot
I'd
take,
definitely
but
check
I
that out.
honestly like Hawaii 94 better.
I
Sorry, not
agree.
sorry.
Oh,
Yeah, for
really?
sure.
All right, already
Yeah.
hyping him up.
And surfing
Yeah.
is good, but I just really like Lee's work. I'm so sad to hear that he's not going to do Hawaii 94 anymore.
You never know what he's
Yeah,
is going to
yeah.
do. You never know. He
Right,
contributed
Could be moving
guitars
on to
to
something
that.
better. Who knows?
Lee contributed guitars to the one of my Polymath Vampire songs under Hawaii 94. So
That
that's
is very true.
Nice.
He did.
You never know.
All right, guys. Well, let me ask: is there anything that you guys have ever wanted to ask each other?
Actually,
Kind of, yeah.
you
Go
go
for
ahead.
it.
So, digital sex.
Hello. What's up? I actually met you briefly at Econ.
I
Hell
know.
Oh shit! Okay.
She goes,
Okay,
I
was like-
know.
I was like, I don't know if you remember. All right.
I remember.
Hi. What's up?
Course, yeah. So, what do you think that your music would smell like?
Actually, I have thought of this. It would be
Fuchsia.
fuck. What would it be? It'd be like lavender.
I was thinking that too.
Synth dust, like in like an old like Juno.
I was thinking the complete opposite.
What were you?
The opposite of that. I'm interested.
So, I'll just go into
A
a
Nat
quick
Geo
backstory here.
magazine.
So,
Oh,
when I
for
was
digital
a little-
sex, yeah.
Yeah, when I was a little kid, we had like a small house fire, and
Oh shit.
That's
so
terrible.
I remember like after we moved, all of our stuff kind of smelled like house fire. But like I remember my Nintendo 64 having a very like specific smell to it. It still smelled like new gaming system, but like also kind of like burnt plastic.
Yeah, the smell
So
was
interesting.
really leave.
Did you ever just
Yeah.
sniff the N64?
Yes.
I
I
probably
just
would have.
got one for Christmas.
I mean, I have one right here. I can take a sniff.
If somebody
real quick.
caught me, I would pretend I was doing something else, but I would be sniffing it.
Yes.
At 64.
It's kind of the vibe I
Yeah, it's like dusty, but it's like nostalgic and like kind of plasticky. Yeah.
That's a
I know
great
exactly
description
what
of
you mean.
vaporwave, bro. Dusty, nostalgic, kind of plasticky.
Dusty, plasticky.
Dusty for sure.
Dusty boys, yeah. No, yeah, I love that. I love that. It's beautiful.
Very cool. Any other last minute questions you want to get in, Chris?
Yes, I do. So I just wondered, just a quick question: Would you when you write your music, easier to start by writing the melody first or writing a chord progression first?
You shit.
Damn, let's hear from Fashionista Boyfriend first.
Yeah. I am honestly more of a melody guy, and if it's not the melody, it's definitely the percussion. Percussion's a big part of what gets the groove going for me, you know?
True.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Digital sex?
Definitely chords. Just figuring out the foundation. But if I have like a melody in my head, I can definitely try to get that down. But
I'm jealous of you for that because it is so hard for me to figure out chords after like I'm a melody person as well.
I know, that's why I don't do it. It's hard. It
So
sucks.
tough.
I think that's why you guys make synth pop. But then again, you did say you do chord progression first. I mean, you guys don't all exclusively strictly make synth pop, but you kind of like all dance around that theme. And I feel like it's a very melody heavy, I would even say melodramatic genre of music.
Yeah, I agree.
And I that's a good thing. I mean, I love strong hooks. It's one of my favorite things personally.
No, yeah, it's all about the hook for sure. The chorus. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight, y'all. It's not time to say goodbye yet, but if you have any hot take you want to spit out real quick in the last 60 seconds, now's the time.
Oh, fuck. Oh, shit.
2023 is going to be a great year. That's my hot take.
I like that hot take. There you go.
I'll take
it. Because it could just be a dumpster fire.
Can only get better, right?
No, I would like it to be. It would be great.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Take is don't eat sardines out of a can.
I love sardines in a can.
Really?
You just got to get the higher end stuff, like Kipper snacks. I'm serious. And with that, it looks like our next batch of people is here. So,
right,
don't
cool.
eat sardines out of a can. Or do, if you're me. Good night. Digital
Love
Sex,
you guys.
Streaming
Bye.
Diary, Drink Your Tears, Fashionista Boyfriend. Thank you so much for being here. We love y'all.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good 2023,
Much
okay?
love. Much love.
Of course. Thank you.
Mwah.
Thank you.
Joining
Bye.
us now, we have Be Careful, we have Enrail, and we have Groovy Kaiju. Three of the most
Yo,
hypest,
what up?
most positivist people I think I've ever met.
Yeah.
I wanted to say hi to you in the green room. Be careful, but good to see you. Your camera wasn't on. I know what you were doing.
Oh yeah, I'm actually at work right now. So I'm just trying to get back.
Yikes, let me turn you up. So Be Careful is on the job, OTJ right now, so nobody say
goodness.
anything funny in here, okay? But I do want to start with you, buddy, and I want to just ask you, what is the weirdest music that you enjoy?
Oh, by the way, I dismissed all my employees and I'm just chilling in my car now. So we're good.
Oh, okay, cool.
Oh, okay.
Well, you know, I picked this question for the three of y'all because y'all have all three of y'all have such a wide variety of taste. But I want to know from each one of y'all, starting with you, Be Careful, what's the weirdest music you enjoy?
That's a strange question. I actually have no idea. I would probably just say wave.
I
Even
love
though
that
that's
music.
incredibly strange.
Chris and I both fuck with wave music heavy.
Yes, for sure.
Who are some of your favorite acts?
Oh, Pearl White is huge for me, and
Love
I
Pearl
actually, I know him. He lives in a place like really close to where I grew up, and we've gotten to collab in the past as well. I don't know if you guys ever heard John Frusciante's like electronic projects and like his project under called Nidra Laws. Usually just a
No,
t-shirt.
I haven't.
Love that stuff.
I've not, man. You're gonna have to link us in the chat because
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
when I think wave, I just think like Climax, Kid Henrik, you know,
lot of
of
artists.
Dream, you know. So sounds like you got the deep cuts.
Oh no, he doesn't do wave. That's just like another like almost niche genre that I love. Nidra Laws and he's just a t-shirt is like a really weird side project that John Frusciante did.
I got
I
you.
think I think that's like his drag name that he used to use. I would 100% recommend to anybody.
In Rail, you're muted still, buddy. What do you think is the weirdest music
Yeah.
that you enjoy?
I think it's kind of tough because it's subjective. Sorry, I'm in like a car on the highway.
No,
right
it's
now.
thank you guys for
Perfect.
making time to join
Yeah,
us,
thank you
wherever
so
you
much.
are.
Yeah. I'm in Seattle. I'm like on
Sick.
visiting home for the holidays.
Thank you for making time for us.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no doubt. I love being here. I think it's kind of a weird, like, subjective kind of question. Like, what's the weirdest music I
It
listen
is,
to?
indeed.
But, like,
Fair.
I guess people would consider like Farrah Abraham or like I guess a lot of people would consider like Giant Claw to be weird. I listen to a lot of Giant Claw.
Yeah. We do stand Giant Claw on hot takes.
Of course.
Yeah, I stand Giant Claw. Giant
Great.
Claw is the best artist ever.
Giant Claw definitely put on a hell of a set, I'm told, at Econ 3. Unfortunately, I was seeing somebody else.
Oh.
But apparently that was the place to be.
Yeah, it kind of was.
F.
I'm sorry you missed out. Who are you seeing?
You know, honestly, buddy, I don't remember. I think maybe he crossed over with FM Skyline or Hotel Pools or somebody.
No, he didn't.
I don't know, man. Maybe I was trying to get food. I was real zooted,
It's okay.
bro.
It's all right. Wait.
Yeah, all right. So,
Yeah.
Groovy, put us on. Who's somebody subjective that's weird that you listen to?
Can I give 2 answers?
Yeah.
I think they're tied.
Absolutely. You can
All
give
right, so the
3.
first one is this group called iClick. I think they're probably the greatest
Strange.
music I very much enjoy. It's
Really?
featuring somebody on the call, actually,
Oh,
here
my.
right now, as a duo between Unrail and Will. But yeah, I like their stuff a lot just because it is like so. I think they like to play with rhythm a lot, and that's probably
True.
my weird thing is I really like experimentations in rhythm. The more I think about my musical taste,
That makes sense.
so a lot of that.
I feel
and
that.
lots of like weird, like back and forth and all types of stutters and things that I really enjoy. And another good example, I think, and I've been dragging people like All Hell Breaks Loops and Frank Javsey with me to these shows out in LA.
I
So
noticed
there's
that
one
lately. Yeah.
Yeah, there's one called Scenario 808. It spawned out of Low End Theory from the LA beat scene, but I have a really
hell yeah.
big love for the LA beat scene. And there's
Yeah,
a person
buddy.
that recently played named Antoje, and I'll type them both in the chat right now.
Please do.
But in Toje, there's pretty much, again, they just experiment with rhythm a lot. And like, if you listen to their stuff, it's just, my little brother is like, why are you listening to just a blender? But to me, I'm like, yo, these polyrhythms though? These polyrhythms
blender.
though?
That's
oh
funny.
my God. So yeah, probably in Toje and iClick are my 2 choices.
Shout out
By
Will
the way,
Wade, by the way, for helping us promote this episode.
Yeah, he couldn't make it this time because he's like on an airplane right now or something.
He
Fair
is
enough.
he is on an
Thank
airplane.
Thank
We-
you, Groovy, for shouting us out.
Yeah,
We got some tight homies in the chat. I purposely put all these groups together, you know.
You did a great job putting the groups together.
Oh, you're too kind. I'm sure you've got a burning question for these 3.
I do, particularly for these 3. You guys are actually all pretty focused on doing live performances, like more than a lot of other artists. Actually, you've probably done several of them.
Very true.
What do you guys get out of doing the live performances?
For me, it feels like that's like the true way to express like the music I made, is to see other people trying to figure out how to move and dance to it. I feel like that's like very important to me, and some of my most, I guess, like influential moments are seeing other people perform live.
Yeah.
You know, like that. When I saw that Giant Claw set, that blew my fucking ass away, and I
my God, me too. Me too.
I immediately like after I got back from New York, I just like started working on like 18 new albums just as a burst of inspiration from that. And I wish I could. I hope one day that people will feel the same way in regards to seeing me live. And also,
Absolutely.
It's just fun jumping around like an idiot to like music that you made, and like seeing other people enjoy it too. It's like a very satisfying and fulfilling feeling.
Yeah.
Buddy, one of my biggest regrets of the Econ 3 weekend is leaving the Vaporspace event early. Granted, we're one of the only people that actually had luck getting out of LaGuardia, but missing you and Will performing was not the move, and I regret it.
Yeah,
more than I regret missing Giant Claw.
That was the show of the year right there. That was the set of the year.
I saw the
and Will
footage.
killed
I
it.
saw the footage.
They
I
killed it.
wish I could have made that happen.
Be careful. The same question. The same question though for you. What do you get out of the live performances?
You know, I feel super comfortable on stage, and it's just so satisfying being able to, like, kind of change your set live along to what the audience is responding to. And it also helps me combine my passion with like hip hop and R&B, because most of my live performance I'm always mixing acapellas from some of my favorite songs live. So it's just a good blend of being able to do everything that I like doing in music and just showing like the versatility that I have in my library. On top of that, it's what's helping me gauge what I'm going to be putting on my next album.
Oh,
I'm
so
not
you are going to
working
do
on-
another album? I wasn't sure after the first interview we had with you. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually not going to be doing any solo stuff anytime soon, but I'm working on a collab album with Curry, and
Oh, nice.
it's going to
Very
be
cool.
all house. Maybe
Wow.
some future funk, but mostly house.
It's interesting
Oh,
how the
man.
live performance can influence what you start making. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's particularly cool.
Wait, Aaron, Groovy, same question.
Yeah. So first, I'll say real quick, Nathan. During your last iClick set, I was losing my mind. So your music shows definitely inspire the exact thing you're saying. You hope inspires.
Thank you.
But
Thank you.
For me, honestly, so I guess again, I'm doing two things. The first, way more important thing for me is just meeting people at the shows. I love meeting people that like genuinely connect with my music, and it's just always a trippy, like almost Rubik's Cube type feeling of like, what is it about this person that we have a connection where we both think these sounds, these air wiggles are like good. And it's trippy to see like how that manifests in other people and like what about them also connects with me and what I like. So that's probably the number one thing, easy, is just connecting with other people at live shows. And the number two is so all for my songs, I try to like do live, like I guess DJ and air quotes improvisation of like effects and things, and that's what the final song is. So it's always fun to go back and play it live because it's different every time, and from that process I then learn other fun ways to perform the same song that I've already released that I could have done in another version. And it's fun to just pick up new little tricks and stuff from playing the same thing over and over, and like new stutters that sound cool here that I didn't originally expect, and maybe this feels good at the moment and stuff like that. Like you'll see in a lot of my sets, sometimes I'll just start laughing because I'm like, oh, I didn't expect that to work, but it did.
How do you decide where you want to put the Kirby sound effects?
Just when it feels good, dude. It's like jazz.
Hell yeah, buddy. Hell yeah.
I can 1000% vouch for both Groovy and Be Careful as incredible live performers.
Yep.
I've seen Groovy probably like 20 times now.
Me too,
and
a handful.
Each time it's like fucking just so much fun to dance along with everyone else, and you know, hearing the songs you recognize and having to run up close.
Yeah, that's me.
And seeing Be Careful at like the Chicago show about a year ago. Be Careful like threw in like some Chief Keef acapellas and like
imagine that.
I've seen him do that too.
Not hard to imagine that.
It's genius, like having people sing along and get hyped to, you know, like a beat you made with, you know, like a well-loved and recognized acapella over it. It's an art of itself performing. It is. You know,
Fanta Cat is really good at that too.
Yeah, she is.
True.
That's a really interesting point, is that it is a whole other art form, you know, doing the live performance version of this sort of music, which is like, well, what do I do? How do I do this differently? How do I make it translate to a different type of energy? It's a whole other art form, yeah.
Well, fellas, y'all all know each other pretty well. Are there any questions you guys have always wanted to ask each other?
You want to go first? Anyone else want to go first? I'm trying to think. I wasn't expecting this. Nathan, when you make it back to I hope I'm about to say your real name, but when you make it back to LA, let me know so we can work on music together. That's the first one.
Yeah, let's fucking do it. I come back
Real.
tomorrow. Let's link up soon.
Yeah,
new
I'll get
year,
out to
new
you.
me. I'm going outside this
2023,
year.
baby.
Yeah.
I'm leaving the house this year.
Do you two have any other genres that you guys don't want to venture into anytime soon?
Oh yeah, I'm working a lot of. Go for it. You go first.
Oh yeah, let's hear it.
I've been stupid into like pop music and like 90s R&B music, and in addition like kind of like Euro trancey kind of like blue dubba dee dubba die kind of shit, like and like just listening to a ton of it to figure out what makes it so good and catchy. And I think that's kind of the direction I want to go for the album after my next album. I'm gonna get like poppy with it. I'm gonna sell out, and I'm gonna make music that like satisfies the ears and the brain.
I bet it'll be amazing.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I hope mine doesn't run on for too long.
No, let's hear
I think
it.
for me, it's a drum and bass kind of. So I'm not like a big
Nice.
drum and bass fan, funnily enough. But through Pink Pantheress, she was my top artist for Spotify Rap, including all 5 of my top songs were all Pink Pantheress. So I'm listening to a lot of that. and a lot of Pizza Hotline, who's been hanging out with the
Pizza Hotline is fucking fire.
Exactly, with the My Pet Flamingo folks, I think they've been hanging out. But from that kind of journey through that, I've been trying to like do my research on my history of drum and bass, and I've discovered why it's picking up now, and I think it's because it's a lot more listenable versus DJable, if that's a thing I could say on hot takes. Maybe that is a hot take.
No,
in
that's
itself.
definitely true.
Interesting. So with that, I think, and funnily enough, because I also do lo-fi hip hop, I think there's a funny meeting point between what's going on in drum and bass today and what lo-fi hip hop's kind of doing, and I kind of want to explore that zone. Even though I've been kind of holding off just because everyone's trying, well, not everyone, but drum and bass is getting more popular, so more people are jumping on the train, and I want to be like, I don't want to jump on the train too, but at the same time, I do want to make it, so I'm like, oh,
that's tough. Yeah.
But
we got to make a D&B song together.
Yeah, please do.
Yes. We like that.
I'm down.
Before we run out of time, be careful. Have you been delving in any specific different direction lately?
You know, I was gonna say the same D&B because Pink Panthers was also my top 5 songs, and I was heard like top 0.001.
You heard it on Hot Takes.
Oh, you beat me.
Pink Panthers is amazing. But also I've been secretly doing a lot of really weird auto-tune crooning into my microphone.
Oh wow,
some house songs. I don't know if it's really well received, but it's been fun doing it. I've actually released some snippets of me singing over the years on Twitter and just never said it was me. I don't know if I'm actually willing to break into like a full album of me doing vocals, but it would be fun to too.
Very cool.
Well, fellas, right now because I want to talk more. Be careful.
Y'all go talk, man. I'm so sorry to have to tell y'all goodbye because I love you three. Y'all are all very dear to me. But as you know, all good things must end. So good night, be careful, and Rail, Groovy Kaiju, thank you for joining us. Have an awesome 2023.
Goodbye,
guys. Love you guys very much. Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you so much.
We want to give a very warm welcome to Hotel Pools and Persona La Ave. And we do not know where Aurograph is. Maybe I'll text him here in a minute. But Aurograph will be joining us very soon, I'm told. How's it going, fellas?
How's it going, guys?
Hello.
Persona was here. He was the very first person in the green room tonight. So Persona La Ave has been around tonight. Since Aurograph is not with us yet, and I'm about to text him here in a minute, let me start with Hotel Pools. What music were you into, like, throughout the various major stages of your life, like high school, undergrad, young adulthood? What were you into during those stages?
Oh, man. Well, I started with my first love. Well, my first love production-wise was hip-hop stuff, so, like, that's what got me going. But, man, early on, I mean, I remember the first cassettes I got were the Beach Boys and Don't Worry, Be Happy. And I really loved those when I was a little kid. So maybe that was the first. I was really into Led Zeppelin. My mom got me into Led Zeppelin when I was probably in like 3rd, 4th grade. So I had that phase for a bit, my little classic rock thing. But hip hop music, like 90s era hip hop, was like kind of my first love.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I love it. Persona La Ave, let's hear from you. What were you into when you were younger? High school, undergrad, young adulthood?
It's pretty much the same answer I have. Yeah. I picked up guitar first, so I learned a lot of Led Zeppelin. That was like my go-to riff stuff. Anything with riffs, I would love like a classic rock riffs. For the longest time, I didn't even consider like if it had like synthesizers or keyboards in it, I didn't even listen to it. Like I would just skip that song.
Very interesting.
Obviously that's like my favorite thing ever.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then likewise, production wise, like the sort of music I wanted to make were just beats. Like that's what got me into production. I think my friend showed me Fruity Loops when I was like 16, and that just kind of started everything.
Very cool.
But yeah, it's kind of a similar story.
I think a lot of us, I mean, we're all around the same age. We probably had a lot of the same influences growing up. Skelly, while I try to find out where Orograph is, do you have a question for the boys?
Yeah, sure. So was talking to some of the other artists about the songwriting process, and I want to hear about your guys' songwriting process a little bit. You know, where do you start with? Where do you start? And I saw Persona already in the chat saying you start with the kick drum. So why don't I start with you? How does the song process start with you? You start with the kick drum, and then where's it go from there?
That might be the second thing. I guess the first thing you start with is just like the tempo. I feel like at early on, it'll just kind of define what genre you even want it to be. And then within the songwriting process, like tracking and laying stuff down, I change the tempo all the time. Like, and that'll just kind of like shift the entire vibe, and then you can start laying stuff back over it and taking stuff out. But yeah, kick drum, I spend a lot of time on the kick drum. First off, like I just want to make sure I'm playing all of my like melodic instruments over good sounding drums. Just to kind of get my brain going in the right direction. And yeah, like at this point I feel like I could probably get called out for not like trying to push any sort of boundaries within my specific songwriting process, but I kind of just know it works chord wise, and I know how to get the melodies out of the chords pretty quickly, and it's all kind of, it just flows from there. But usually a specific synthesizer tone will get me in the right direction, and then
Interesting. Hotel Pools, my friend, same question. And then I'll ask Orograph.
Yeah, welcome Orograph.
Hey Orograph, nice to see you, buddy.
Orograph. Sorry for blowing up your phone.
Yeah, how's it going? I'm sorry.
It's all good, buddy.
So, Hotel Pools.
Yeah, I think for me it's actually like almost, I think the last few years I've actually kind of been starting with melody ideas. So I'll start with like maybe some progression ideas or an, you know, arpeggio pattern or a lead or something like that, some chords. And then for me, I kind of like, that helps me feel out where the drums will fit in, because I'm just like, I'm all about feel. So I kind of like, that will help me determine if it's like a 4 on the floor beat, or if I want to play around with, you know, some syncopation or mess around with the kick or whatever. So I think lately I've, you know, the last few years, I think I've been kind of building my drums off of some sort of like progression that I start with, whether it's like from a synth or, you know, something like that, or a sampler or whatever. So yeah, that's how I get going, and then I kind of just let it happen, or try to at least.
No, you guys all
if I can just say, I hear that in your single. I believe it's a let's see, what was it called? Faded. Absolute flames. Very melodic.
Oh, thanks, dude.
Yeah,
that was like, I got this new synth. I got an OBX8 Oberheim synth a few months ago, and that was me just trying to figure out how to use it and fuck with different.
Well, boy, am I glad you got it.
Well, thanks, dude. Yeah, I think Orograph got one too, right?
Yeah, I have an OB. I just got the OBX8. It's amazing. I've only played with it like a handful of times, but it's a really special sounding synth. It's like next level good.
Yeah, it is. It's really nice, and everything's like really extra large. All the knobs and everything, so you feel like you're like playing this gigantic instrument, which is fun too.
Yeah, it's pretty true to form. Like, yeah, it's cool.
I think the question itself is like, song structure is based on a song-to-song basis. Like, yeah, if you get like a new synth or a new plugin and you're like diving into sound design, you're gonna like, the song's gonna be led by that tone or that synth.
Good point.
By the discovery process of using that.
Right.
So Orograph, the question I asked was basically when you're writing the song, what's your process? What do you start with, and where do you build out from there? And would you mind answering?
Oh yeah. Well, I guess for me, I kind of usually start with like drums. Like I try to find a specific, I guess, like drum machine that I want to use. Lately, I've been using like, I really like I got like an Akai, the MPC Live that I use to perform.
Mhm.
But I'll load like samples in there, like Lindrum or 808 stuff or whatever, and I just kind of use that MIDI clocked to Logic, and I'll just make drum loops. But I feel like I
Nice.
usually start with drum and bass. Like that's kind of how I typically start, and then I'll like kind of try to find a cool pad sound and like build a track up from there. And usually by then I can tell if a track is something worth pursuing or if it's pretty bad. You know.
Interesting.
Hey, if I can call back to a question I asked before you jumped in, buddy, what kind of music were you into when you were younger, like high school, undergrad, young adulthood era?
I was kind of into like a lot of different stuff at that time, but I think like something that kind of stands out was like listening to more, like I was starting to kind of go down my journey of listening to like instrumental music, specifically in high school. Like I was like kind of like really big into Taiko and like Explosions in the
Hell
Sky.
yeah. Me too.
And like and just like trying to find more like obscure bands, and I think I came across like Taiko's profile like on MySpace a long time ago.
Past his prologue and all that.
Yeah, and then I like listened to Past His Prologue pretty heavily in high school, and I was like, hey, I kind of want to try to make some music that sounds similar to this.
I was going to say, there's not a chance either of you other fellas are into Taiko, is there? Maybe a little chance?
Yeah, I love Taiko.
Yeah, me too, man.
Yeah,
Can't
I
get
had
enough.
a passing phase of listening to Taiko, and I mostly just followed them on like Instagram and YouTube just to watch their like gear. Like I was obsessed with Chase Bliss pedals at the time, and they were like an advocate for that pedal company.
Yeah.
But
Crazy
Warped
how much
vinyl.
he's blown up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
If I can say anything, fucking my dude Autographs. I think the newest one of your newer singles, Instance, dude. I'm obsessed with that song.
Oh,
It's
thank you.
So good.
That's
I
awesome.
feel like I can kind of hear what you're talking about, like starting with drum and bass.
Yeah.
I was talking to FM Skyline in the green room chat at one point about like anything with like plucked bass as the preset sound, or like rompler. Like I love the use of that.
Yeah, I really love that like slap bass stuff. I was just thinking about that today, but that track is kind of funny because I like woke up that morning super early at like 4 a.m. the day that I put it up on Bandcamp, and I think it was a Bandcamp Friday, and I was like, I really want to make something that can go live at like 10 a.m. and I just made that track like super quickly, and I feel like some of my best stuff that I personally enjoy is stuff I make really fast.
Oh yeah, I feel like everybody here can kind of attest to that same like.
That's usually a
the
good
best
sign.
stuff is just first pass.
Yeah.
Just
You're just
flew
in
out.
the flow. Yeah.
For sure.
Well, let me ask, are there any other questions you guys have ever wanted to ask each other?
I feel like we're all kind of like mate adjacent folks. Is that like kind of like the
That
reason
was by
that you-
design, bro.
Yeah,
I mean, after
it's
all,
like
you and
we're-
Autograph are playing a show. We were talking about that earlier. Coming up here pretty soon with Calm Trues.
Yeah. That's
that's pretty cool.
Granddaddy Trues, dude.
Yeah,
the
buddy.
OG.
And
Yeah.
Hotel Pools would fit right the fuck in my opinion. You know.
No, yeah, I mean, we were saying it's Andrew Walker kind of curated the whole thing.
Yeah.
He really did, yeah.
What a
Yeah,
badass
it's like-
dude, right?
I know, man.
Awesome.
We need him.
Yeah,
on
he's
the
a
show.
great guy.
I can't believe
So,
I
like,
didn't get to meet him
brewery-
at Econ, man.
Was he
Yeah,
there?
that was the first time I
wasn't
met him
there.
actually.
I remember
That's
you
crazy.
literally
Cool.
telling me about him. You were like describing what he looked like and where he was, and I was just like, oh, I can't find him.
Yeah,
Such a mellow, he's a mellow guy.
yeah, and we had been working
I'm
together
excited
for
to meet him.
years, and yeah, it was cool to meet him there.
What a
Yeah,
cool
I feel like
experience.
you guys have a great collaboration of just 1-2 punch visual. I mean, he did my shit recently too, but yeah, the brewery that is hosting this show or like throwing the mini festival, Andrew like does all the artwork for them too. Like,
Oh,
he's-
okay, yeah. Yeah,
So
yeah.
That's the link up. Yeah, and
Oh, nice.
I want to
Yeah,
say
buddy.
like one of the brewery guys is like a cousin with Seth from Comtrue, so it's just like this random kind of thing that got thrown together. Secret Attractions playing.
Yeah. Shout out.
There's like a local guy playing too. It's gonna be pretty fucking great, I think. But
It's in South Carolina, right?
yeah, Greenville, South Carolina.
That's gonna be
Oh
fun.
fuck! You know what? Yeah, I remember him talking about that a while ago. Yeah, that's cool.
I'm gonna be
Yeah,
trying
yeah,
real
your-
hard to be there.
Your name was getting thrown around from the get go.
Yeah, he
that.
talked to me about it a long time ago, and then I feel like it was so far out, and then things got all jumbled around.
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. But it'll still be great. So good.
Very cool. Well,
Yeah.
any parting questions you want to pose, Chris?
No, I'm good. Do you guys have any hot takes you want to say?
Yeah,
Is
let's hear
Super
something
Mario
hot.
3 Is Super Mario 3 the game you're representing, or is that just something you enjoy?
I like the shirt because I think it's the best like OG Super Mario platformer.
Okay. All right.
What about
No,
you?
no, I'm a Mario aficionado. If I showed you my
Are you
closet,
really,
you
bro? That's fucking
Oh,
awesome.
fuck. Yeah, I have like a little collection actually.
Bro,
so
like,
if
can
ever-
you see what's behind me? Just like a little bit back there. I have a
I see a
huge
little
collection.
Oh yeah. Nice.
Okay, let's talk later. We'll talk
Yeah, I'm
later.
about to
We'll
send
do
you
it.
hella pictures, bro.
All right, cool.
Always a pleasure to talk to you guys.
Yeah, you guys too. Thank you.
Matter
Yeah,
of fact,
cheers.
I don't know where our next guests are, so if any one of you wants to hang around for a second, I'm totally okay with this.
Wait, we don't. Who's our next guest?
We have
Let's
one
go.
last run of guests. We have Chlorine Mist, who
Yeah.
is half of Friend Zone, the instrumental hip hop duo.
And who else?
And Comet and Sonavision
yeah,
Deluxe. Sonavision can't join us tonight. You guys, if you haven't heard Comet and Sonavision Deluxe, you guys would really like them.
Oh yeah, you guys should check out that album.
If you like
Comtrues,
Comtrues, you would like Comet and Sonavision Deluxe's album.
Wait, so we don't know where either of them are right now.
Well, it doesn't look like it.
All
But
right, well, let these boys hang out a little longer.
I mean, I already said goodbye, so that's embarrassing. But I didn't really want to
Oh,
say
wait.
goodbye. Why don't you guys say hi to
I'm
Comet?
alive.
You made it.
Comment in here.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, and you sound good.
What's up, Comet?
Oh, great. I'm using my computer microphone because my other one's out. But like, Happy New Year. 2003 is going to be a great year, guys.
2003 kicks
Year,
ass.
Yes, 2013.
Can't wait to see what Linkin Park is going to do.
The Haunted Mansion game for PS2 turns 20 years old. this year.
Right. On the real,
It's an underrated-
Autograph, Hotel Pools, Persona La Ave. Thank you so much for being here. I'm sorry I always
Yeah.
pronounce it Autograph. I know you say Orograph.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Either way.
You guys are some OGs. You guys are dope. Thank you for being here and have an awesome 2023. Can't wait to
You
see some of
too.
y'all IRL again.
Hell
Yeah, talk to you guys soon. Thank you guys.
Good night, buddy.
See ya. Bye.
So,
Whoa.
Comet is joining us in the house. I'm not
Hi.
sure if Sona communicated with you, but Sona's not going to be able to be here tonight, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't hear.
Something came up, unfortunately, so Sona can't be here. And
Oh.
Chlorine Mist should be here any minute, at least I'm hoping. Their username is Chud Slayer.
Oh, we were just chatting.
Were you?
We were
That's
saying-
good.
Yeah, I was like, oh, we're going to be on soon. And they were like, oh my God, yeah. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, no. So Chlorine Mist was kind of like a wild card character because I've been
Uh-huh.
friends with Dylan for a super long time. And Chlorine Mist is half of the acclaimed instrumental hip-hop duo Friend Zone, which if you were
Yeah.
around in the early 2010s, Friend Zone was huge.
Oh, I'm going to have to... I'm going to open up a tab and look that up.
Please do. I can put you on some if you like instrumental hip hop. And so I'm really sad that
Yes.
Sona doesn't get to be here because I know Sona mentioned in their recent episode that they used to make beats.
Yeah.
Just messaged
Oh yeah,
Chlorine
He,
Mist.
I mean, he still does. Like on
Yeah.
on like the down low.
True, true. So I got a question for you, buddy, to start out while we wait for Chlorine Mist. Do
Okay.
you believe that there is any such thing as objectively bad music?
Oh my gosh. I don't think so. My gut instinct is to say like no, because I think of like music as just I don't know. It could do a lot for the person making it. Like there doesn't necessarily need to be an audience. So as long as you're making yourself happy with whatever noises, whatever kind of crazy noises you're clashing together. I don't know. I
Right.
think about like early humans just with, I don't know, stones and, you know, pulling hides over hollow cylinders to make drums and just going goblin mode on them. And I'm like, cool,
Right.
dude. Like, we all should just go goblin mode on instrument. So no, there is no objective bad music. So it's okay.
Hey, he's here. What's up?
Hey,
Corey
what's up,
Mist
buddy?
made it.
Hi.
Glad to have
What's
you
up,
here,
my
buddy.
friend?
I gave you quite the intro, so I'm glad you made it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I got some build up.
Yeah. So I put comment on. We were going to be joined by a third person, Sonavision Deluxe, who produces instrumental hip hop on the side. So we were particularly excited about the three of y'all being together, but he couldn't make it. So,
oh, bummer.
But that's
It's
a really.
okay.
I'm really glad that you. I mean, personally, there's a lot of music that I don't like very much, but I also do agree there's no such thing really as objectively bad music. But I
Right.
want to know what you think, Dylan, because you've got some pretty strong opinions. I've seen him on the social media. Is there such thing as objectively bad music?
No, I would have to say there isn't. Not
Yeah.
really. I mean, there could be music that doesn't really seem like art, but I don't know if that's bad. Maybe it has some other purpose, I guess.
That's interesting. Yeah.
That's fair. I guess, I mean, I heard one person say that the only thing that could possibly be considered objectively bad was if you, like, just had no purpose or, like, commercial. It was just, like, over-commercialized.
Ooh, maybe like something like that's made to be very manipulative in like a bad way.
Right, or, like,
Right.
fascist music or some shit, you know?
Yes, yeah, exactly. Like the context,
yeah.
probably plays a part. Go
Right.
ahead.
Well, it depends on what you're, like, what are you judging? Are you
True.
judging whether it's successful music? Because if it's propaganda, then I guess it accomplished its
It's accomplished its
spreading
goal,
that
right? Yeah,
message.
like, well, it was supposed to. Yeah, it's really difficult to even like approach that question with any kind of answer, even when you think you have a good answer. Like, oh, well, this is for a bad purpose. Like, well, succeeding, creating the bad purpose.
But that's the fun of it, though. Like,
That's
Right.
the fun of it. Yeah.
and to
Yeah.
like picking your brain about it.
Dylan, you've got, like, this weird effect on your audio. It sounds like it's, like, half speed. Are you on, like, a phone or a desktop, laptop?
It's like the sample stretching.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I don't know what that is.
I mean, it
It
sounds
also
really
like there's
interesting.
a high pitch. There's like a high pitch filter too on it. It sounds like a chipmunk alien.
If you want to, like, jump out and jump back in again, that might fix it. But, I mean, if you're okay with...
Wait, someone sample it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, you sound pretty terrifying, for being honest.
Pretty cool.
I love it.
I could try reconnecting my audio.
If it's something that you can do really quickly with no stress whatsoever, go right ahead.
If not, we can work with it.
Yeah, we can work with it. It's no big
But,
deal.
like, the
I'm
nature
sure...
of the. I'm sorry. The cadence of the voice is so chill that like it kind of balances out the freaky texture.
I'm like, is Dylan on, like, codeine right now, or is it the audio? I'm sure Chris has a really good question that he's thinking of, and maybe he can run it by you first. Comment while Chlorine Mist
Oh.
works on his audio.
Okay, yeah.
Comment. I just kind of want to ask you with the songwriting process. And by the
Oh,
way, I saw
yeah.
some video of some of the new stuff you've been working on, the new techniques you've been doing. It
Oh yeah.
very cool stuff. I saw that on your Instagram story. But let me ask you, and I'm going to ask Dylan this next. Is like when you're starting the song, where do you begin? What is the first thing you start with?
Okay,
Where do you build out from there?
It's really weird because ideas hit me like a brick no matter what I'm doing, no matter where I am.
That's
So
interesting.
what usually happens with me is that I'll be on a walk. I won't be listening to any music. I won't have any headphones or anything. It's just pure ambience.
Okay.
And then suddenly I'll just start whistling to myself to, sort of create more mood for my walk. And then like a nice little catchy jingle will pop in my head and I'll realize, I haven't heard that in anywhere else. This must be an original melody formulating in my
Wow,
head.
you're getting melody first. All right.
So I'm like, oh shit, I'm far away from home. I need to like keep whistling this so I don't forget it, or I like record it into my phone.
Yeah.
And then I get back and I very frantically trying to get it down in MIDI. And that's usually how it goes. And then I start organizing it more. So it's very spontaneous at first. And then I try to contain it by making beats a little bit later. And then I find the right tempo. Like I test many different tempos for the jingle or whatever I came up with.
You test tempos. You don't even start with the tempo.
Oh, now that's fucking cool. All right.
No, it's because like the notes come to me first and I'm like, okay, what's the best speed for this rhythm? And I spend a while doing it. Other times when the ideas aren't coming to me, I'll just sit at my keyboard and I'll just mash keys for a good half an hour until something kind of nice shows up. And so occasionally I'll just let like my DAW or my tape recorder or whatever just on record. I'll just leave it on and like 90% of it is garbage. And then just like improvising. And then eventually I'll find a flow and I'll find a nice rhythm and I'll sort of correct the notes as I go. And then I refine it later. I make sure I get it all down in MIDI and then I orchestrate it very carefully. But other times I'll just start with a beat. Like I walk around all the time at like parks or whatever, just, with my phone out or a portable cassette recorder, just capturing found sounds, like kicking around bottles and bricks and snapping twigs.
Nifty.
And then I'll load it all into my sampler and I'll just start like going ham, like coming up with weird patterns. I'm like, let's try 3/4, or a weird time signature and see, where, the puzzle pieces fit into place. And I get a good like groove going and I'm like, okay, what kind of chords would fit with, these weird beats? And so every track is super different, but if I had to simplify it, most of the time, I'm just going about my business and a really catchy little melody floats into my head and I'm like, shit, I need to get this down now.
Right. That makes perfect sense in my opinion. I mean, I don't write music, but I feel like if I would write music, that's probably what I would do.
Right.
It looks like Dylan is deafened, so he probably is not going to hear.
Dylan?
Oh, there he is.
Oh, Dylan, you back?
I think.
Oh, yeah,
you sound much
perfect.
better.
Yeah,
Let's hear about
you
sound great. Let's hear about your songwriting process, buddy.
I want to hear that. I want to hear from you too.
Okay, good. What are you guys talking about?
Oh, basically, sorry. The songwriting process. Where do you start, and how do you build out from there?
Well, it can happen a lot of different ways, but I guess the way that I really like to do it is, well, I play like instruments and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So
right. I don't know. Do you?
Just jam out on my like keyboard, and I just try to like think as little as possible, and I'll just press record. And then once I got like a good vibe going, then I'll just stop recording. I'll cut out some cool parts. Then I'll start putting some drum machines around these parts. And
so you do the drum machines after you've already recorded something?
Right. That's most people start with the drums, but for me, it's like, I don't know. I don't feel anything just from drums. For me, it has to be like an emotional like melody.
Yeah.
And that gets me like all vibed.
100% agree.
Your music has always been very melodic. At least the Chlorine Mist stuff I've noticed, like when it's just you working on your own, some of it is very almost like symphonic. It's very intricate.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm gonna have to listen to this.
Yeah, you really do, man. I'm thinking in particular of like some of the early. It's been several years, but it's very intricate.
Right. That's why it's been taking me so long to put out a new one. It's like a huge rabbit hole to try and like finish songs like that. There's so many layers.
Oh, I understand. It's gonna be like another year until I release something again.
Yeah, it's a lot of hard work, but it's nicer when you have someone else, because that's what's nice about being in friend zone. I'm working on a new project with somebody right now. But,
hell yeah! I mean, it's pretty cool. Friend zone, like you just had the second release,
right?
So
that's right.
Really
we
cool.
just dropped that on vinyl.
You did
this summer. There's
Shout
still
out
some
Sly
left.
Vinyl.
Anybody wants to buy them?
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, and I really like how it came out. We're Probably gonna do a third one next summer because there's still so much stuff left over. Because we were just pumping out so much stuff back then.
Yeah.
Right.
That I have like 4 albums worth of stuff just on my hard drive, and I don't know. Once the label like calls me up and they're like, "Okay, we got to put an album out by this date," that like finally gets me to put my foot on the ground. I actually finish a record, you know.
Sounds like me.
That's
with DJ
crazy.
sets.
I've never encountered that before. That sounds like a weird experience.
What?
Just like to have a label just call you out from the ether, like,
Oh, yeah.
you need to do this.
I've just been waiting for someone, you know, like do something like that.
I would.
You know,
I think I would love it because it
Right.
would force me to get shit done.
Right, puts pressure on you.
Dylan, you're still out in the Bay Area, right?
For now, yeah.
For now, I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure Comet, you're in LA, no?
Yes, I am. Like Southern California.
How's
Woodland
that?
Hill.
Very
I'm like on
cool.
the outskirts of LA.
Very cool. Boy, I missed that part of the country. Well,
I
guys,
was just
we
waiting for you.
are almost done with our broadcast, unfortunately. So we're gonna have to
Oh
say
my God.
goodbye here in a minute. But if I can just get
Okay.
one last parting question, starting with Dylan, do you have
All right.
any go-to happy music, sad music, angry music, etc.? And if so, what is it?
I guess. What's it called? It's by Outkast. It's called
Very cool.
the Players. What's it called? Players International.
It's the-
Something.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yo. All right.
It's like a song about getting married. It's by Andre 3000. I really like
Yes,
it
yeah,
when I'm happy.
no.
Yeah.
That's your go-to happy
This
music.
is a good choice.
Yeah.
What about
Like
you, Comet?
Juicy by Notorious B.I.G.
Oh, okay. So there's this like awesome artist based in Tokyo called Ventla, Ventla.
I feel like I've heard of Ventla.
Yeah, like, okay, so he just makes these tiny little bops. They're like these bite-sized tunes that are like a minute long each, and they're just like the happiest, most wholesome sounding music.
That sounds very cool.
Yeah, and he
drop a link
Yeah.
or DM me something.
Sure, okay, I'm gonna do that right now, like a band.
please
Yeah,
do.
his stuff is awesome. I'd agree. That's really good happy music.
Yeah, it's just, it just makes me like be okay, you know?
Yeah.
That sounds like something I want to hear for sure.
I
And
definitely
with
Yeah, I'm getting
with-
the Bandcamp up.
please send that
He has
shit
a
my
he
way.
has a good album called For Human Consumption. Anti-Vivant is my favorite.
That's the one I have. Yeah.
Yeah,
Anti-Vivant.
that's like the classic.
It's hella good. I
Damn,
sampled a couple
two
tracks off that.
cosigns. I've got to check it out now.
Yeah, me too.
Fellas, we actually have to say goodnight. Unfortunately,
Okay.
Chris and I have been at this for 3 hours, but I want to thank you both for joining up
Thank
tonight.
you guys so much.
Oh my god,
All
well,
right.
you're welcome.
It was so nice to hear from both of you.
Yeah,
Yeah, nice
absolutely.
talking to you
Love
guys.
Sorry it couldn't be longer, but I hope you guys have an awesome night and an amazing 2023.
Yeah,
let's do
thank
it
you.
again.
No, it was fun to be on, even for how brief it was.
Keep
Yeah,
us
thank
posted
you.
with what you guys do, okay?
All right.
For sure.
Good night.
Sounds good.
Good night.
And to all you still tuned in and listening, we unfortunately have to end our show. But it's not over yet. Hot Takes Season 3 coming up in a month. Chris and I are both going to take a small hiatus. You can expect to see us back most likely, I would say, probably at the end of the month, maybe January 30th in 4 weeks. We'll figure that out in the post show. But we want to thank you guys again for being so loyal. We want to appreciate each and every one of you, but unfortunately we don't have time to do that tonight. But great things coming up in Season 3. Some things I can't really talk about yet, but you're going to want to stick around. You're going to want to tune in. And if you like the show, please consider tweeting about us, posting on social media. I just dropped the donate link. Totally not mandatory, but very much appreciated. And be sure to follow all the artists that came on tonight that who had work that you liked. If you heard something that you thought was cool, buy their work, buy their merch, follow, sub to their Patreons, sub to Skelly's page. Well, he doesn't have a Patreon, but buy Skelly's work. Is there anything you want to say before we say goodnight, buddy?
I just want to say thank you to everybody who's been here on the show and everybody who's watched it. It means a lot to me. I know it means a lot to Isaac. It's a beautiful thing that's happening right here when we do this show. It's really wonderful to have everybody be a part of it. and really brings comfort to me as well. And I'm not really doing too well right now, so it's really nice to have this, and it's really nice to have you guys all around me. And I just want to let you know I love you all very much, and thank you. You all inspire me so much.
Thank you, buddy, for being my co-host. I picked you specifically because I think you have a great taste and a great personality. And if somebody asked me to name one of my idols or mentors, immediately without a thought, it would be you.
Too kind. Love you very much, buddy.
I'm not going to keep you here. I know you're tired, and I have to piss like you wouldn't believe. But thank you guys for being here. Don't sleep on hot takes, and check out this badass ad that we commissioned from DS Dude. Stay tuned for more. Good night.
What's a hot take? So I have a hot take for you. My hot take? Well, I think some artists need to put a little more energy in their live set. Overly complicated tracks are things that kind of ruin a track for me. Don't stick to any kind of genre label. Future bass is the worst music genre ever created. Barber Beats was the original vaporwave. Fuck General MIDI Choir, it's all bad. Bruh. Worst album artwork I've ever seen is Green Day's Father of All Motherfuckers, probably.
I find new music often, and I usually illegally download it.
Stuff that sounds good. Sampleless vaporwave is still vaporwave, buddy. MIDI wave is a form of vaporwave. Deal with it. Gen Z's the future of vaporwave. I said it. What is your musical guilty pleasure, Vapebearer? It's gotta be K-pop. If you don't like mint chocolate chip ice cream, you are a baby. Music isn't real. I smell weed. I'm Dan Mason. This is Vape Eric. This is FM Skyline.
This is Mesh.
Yo, this is Groovy Kaiju. This is Christ. You're listening to Hot Takes. That's the one.
Don't touch my records. Ever.